on Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware and building center location. Homeowners helping homeowners. The Blue Jays on Sportsnet. Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware and building center location. Homeowners helping homeowners.
That's right, the roof is open at Rogers Center. This is the second earliest open roof during the baseball season. Back on April 16, 2002, the roof was open, but it's been a spectacular spring here in Southern Ontario. It's open-air baseball for Henderson Alvarez, and he'll try to win this series for the Blue Jays. The teams have split the first two of this three-game set. Last night, Tampa Bay pounded out 10 hits. They scored 12 runs and hit 4 home runs. And Luke Scott dropped down to the 5th spot in this order. The last 5 games at Rogers Center, he has worn out Blue Jays pitching. 7 for 18. He hits his grand slam in last night's game in the 9th inning. Part of a 6-run inning against Carlos Villanueva.
Poured it on last night. Henderson Alvarez, 2 real good starts to begin this season, but just doesn't have a whole lot to show for it. Alvarez has thrown 2 beautiful ball games and 2 no decisions.
Inside to Desmond Jennings. Jennings, the leadoff batter, singled in his first at bat last night. Sinking fastball is foul. Alvarez is a power pitcher, but he's unusual in that he has good control as well.
Yeah, he doesn't walk anybody. We talked about that in the opening. He will challenge you. He's given up a couple of home runs this year. Chris Davis had a big home run against him in his last start. Dustin Pedroia took him deep in the first start.
Alvarez is ahead of Jennings.
How about that? 96 miles an hour. He seems to be bigger. He seems to be throwing harder. His slider is a little bit better this year.
Look at the defense. Perfectly situated. Kelly Johnson at second. First out of the ball game.
Yeah, that's how you do it. A lot of ground ball outs when Henderson Alvarez is on. There's his 0-0 record. 2 real good starts, nothing to show for it. Those 2 no decisions. He handed over leads in both of those games to the bullpen, and they were not able to hold them. So Alvarez is looking for his first win. A lot of ground ball outs when he is on.
Ben Zobrist, the right fielder, takes a pitch outside. Zobrist and the Rays beat Henderson Alvarez last August 26. Alvarez gave up just 4 hits in his 6 innings of work, but 3 of those hits left the yard. Desmond Jennings, the leadoff batter, hit a home run off of Alvarez, and Evan Longoria hit 2.
We were watching some of those before the ball game tonight, and they came off of his slider. His breaking ball last year was more of a spinning slider. This year it's got a little bit sharper break and it breaks a little bit later. I think that has a lot to do with him being a little bit older, a little bit bigger, a little stronger, throws a little bit harder. Those fastballs 95 and 96 miles an hour. So he is spinning a better breaking ball this year.
A lot of upside for Henderson Alvarez. Looks like Ben Zobrist is having a conversation with the umpire about that last pitch. Dana DeMute, the veteran, is behind the plate. 2-2. Looping liner into left field. Zobrist is aboard with a 1-out base hit.
Let's take a look at the scouting report for the birthday boy. Celebrated his 22nd birthday yesterday. Scouting report is brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. His fastball, he will use it predominantly 66% of the time. He's got the slider that he's getting a little bit more comfortable with. It's a lot better than last year. And his changeup is developing. He's starting to flatten it out and feather it a little bit. But he's got the full arsenal. The whole thing about him is his ability to put that fastball on both corners.
Blue Jays have turned 14 ground ball double plays, and they are in double play position here. Outside. One thing that plagued Alvarez in his last start against Tampa Bay was he was up in the zone. And this is a very good mistake hitting ball club. You leave something up in the zone, and as we saw last night, they will wear you out. They hit 4 home runs in the game last night.
Scored a season high 12 runs in last night's ball game. They have some power with Carlos Pena coming back and Luke Scott signing over here.
Longoria. We mentioned his 2-homer game against Alvarez last August. There's Luke Scott with the grand slam last night. His only his second hit of the game came in the 9th. Alvarez doesn't have to be fine with his location. He has so much movement on his fastball, and it's so hard that he can be effective, but he does have to pitch down.
Yeah, he needs to stay down. The first inning in his last start, he didn't bring his A game out of the bullpen. It took him a while to get it going. He gave up a run in the first inning to the Baltimore Orioles.
Why do you think starters generally have problems in the first inning?
Well, I think the mounds could be a little bit different when you're warming up down in the bullpen and then you come out to the mound for the game. You know, they might not have the feel of the baseball just yet.
2-1. Right on the corner.
But he's throwing a lot harder in the first inning than he did in that first inning in his last start. And his fastballs then were 89 to 91 miles an hour. Now they're 95, 96.
You see, now with 2 strikes on Pena, the Blue Jays will use that exaggerated shift and tempt him to go ahead and try to bunt. I don't think he's going to bunt in this situation against Alvarez. 2-2, 1 out.
He tried the other day with 2 strikes and fouled it off and got a strikeout, but not with that fastball that he has.
Full count, 1 out. Alvarez is not a real strong strikeout pitcher. Tampa Bay very aggressive. Zobrist a great baseman. I wouldn't be surprised if they start the runner here. The Jays are great at turning double plays.
Yeah, how about a strike him out, throw him out? We've seen a line out double play. We've seen a lot of ground ball double plays. The Rays have not been running as much as they've done in the past. One of the reasons why B.J. Upton is on the disabled list with a back problem. So Joe Madden has to manage the game accordingly. They will get B.J. back in tomorrow's game.
There goes Zobrist. Pitch is down. It's a ball. They got to get to third. Alvarez was late. Had Zobrist been running with his head up, he would have just turned second and then been in a foot race with Escobar.
And he probably would have made it too. That's the danger when you have that exaggerated shift over there. You've got to remind the pitcher that he's got third base.
So now The dangerous Evan Longoria with 2 on, just 1 out. Longoria had an RBI single in the 9th inning in last night's game. His only hit in 4 at bats. He also walked. Big strike on the inside corner. We mentioned Alvarez started last time out Saturday against Baltimore. Same start as he had in that last game. Ground ball, single, walk. And then he hit Adam Jones with a pitch, and Matt Wieters had a fielder's choice and drove in the first run of the game. Aaron Sevilla does a good job to keep Zobrist from advancing.
You know, that's the thing with Alvarez, is he can get 2 outs with 1 pitch. Double play kept in order because J.P. Arencibia gives up his body and blocks that ball, and the runners could not advance. In that game, they failed to turn the double play on Matt Wieters that scored the first run of the ball game. But he got a ground ball out. They had a chance. They just couldn't turn it.
Ball and strike. Lined over the head of Kelly Johnson. Zobrist around third. He'll score. Bautista will get the ball back to second base. Pena goes first to third. And Longoria drives in his 8th run of the season. Tampa Bay out front early.
I was watching Evan Longoria take batting practice today, and it really seemed like he was trying to hit the ball the other way, especially early in his rounds. Really stay on the ball, and that's exactly what he does here. He's actually jammed a little bit on that ball, but he keeps his hands inside the ball and muscles it into right field softly for that RBI single. That's just a good piece of hitting right there.
So many good things could happen when you target that opposite power alley. You stay on the ball, you see it a little bit longer. Pena did a good job going first to third. And now Luke Scott. Scott's a powerful hitter. Hit that grand slam last night, and he's off to a good start. His 3rd home run of the season. He's driven in 12. Was after the first pitch.
Yeah, he and Carlos Pena have formed a dynamic duo, if you will, in the middle of that lineup for the Tampa Bay Rays. Both of them, they've driven in 12 runs.
Well, that was the missing piece to this offense, power. And Pena and Luke Scott bring that dimension to the lineup for Joe Maddon.
Most RBIs by 2 teammates in the American League.
Luke Scott, coming back from right shoulder surgery, said he had a labrum that was torn to about 75%. Had 7 anchors put in his shoulder during the surgery last summer. Still not quite 100%. Just outside. You're not going to get those borderline calls when you've been all over the map.
Yeah, you start proving that you can hit that corner and you'll start getting them. The other thing that Luke Scott does, he's got a good eye. He has a plan when he goes up there. He takes the most pitches per plate appearance on this ball club. He sees the most pitches per plate appearance, about 4.
Hits it on the ground. Kelly Johnson right there at second to short. Back to first. Double play. Kelly Johnson was standing there waiting for the hot shot off the bat of Luke Scott. But Tampa Bay takes a 1-0 lead. lineup. This season they're 6-5. Escobar, Johnson, Bautista, top third of the order. In the middle is Lind, Encarnacion, and Thames. Colby Rasmus hitting in the 8th spot over his last 5 games, hitting .389. A homer, 3 RBIs, the OPS over 1. And there's a couple of teammates there that are really doing a good job as well. Over the last 7 days, Rasmus, Laurie, and Bautista are all starting to heat up.
And what you like about that, the averages are fantastic. You like the power and the production you're starting to see from Bautista, Laurie, and Colby Rasmus, starting to use the whole field and starting to turn on the power. Jeremy Hellickson will take the mound. He matched a career high by giving up 5 runs, including 3 home runs against the Red Sox on Saturday. In his last trip to the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays, in that game he got a no decision. There are his numbers, very good. Last year, Rookie of the Year in the American League. Hellickson is fun to watch because he pitches. He doesn't blow the ball by you like a David Price does. He has to pitch, and he's got a wide arrangement of pitches.
Hellickson's 25 years old. This will be his 36th career start. He finished first in the Rookie of the Year voting over Mark Trumbo of the Angels.
Blew him out of the water, didn't he?
Yep. He had 102 votes, 17 first place votes to 5 for Trumbo. First pitch of the ball game from Hellickson is in there for a strike to Yunel Escobar. The Blue Jays have homered in 5 straight games. They get a total of 11 home runs during that stretch. What do you expect to see from Hellickson tonight after that shaky outing against the Red Sox?
Probably see more changeups from Jeremy Hellickson in that game against the Red Sox. He did not go to his changeup as often as he did before, and he said, I got to use that pitch just a little bit more.
There's a base hit through the hole on the right side. Pena was way off the line, but he couldn't move before that ball shot past him.
Stay hot, Yunel. That's 5 hits in those last 6 plate appearances. Here's the scatter report for Jeremy Hellickson. His fastball will top out at 92 miles an hour. He'll cut it a little bit more this year. That's something that he is trying. That's about 91 or 92 miles an hour. His changeup, though, is his best pitch. He'll use it 2-0. He'll use it 3-0. Whenever you're in a fastball count, he likes to drop that changeup on you. His curveball is not too bad either.
Kelly Johnson, the number 2 hitter, looks at one down the stairs. Johnson's 0 for 10 in this series. Average has dipped to 213. But averages are very fluid early on. Players don't have too many at bats, and they'll go up and down very rapidly.
Yeah, you get a couple of games where you don't get some hits, and you might lose 100 points. I like the production that we have seen from Johnson and the power from a second baseman.
3 homers, 6 RBI early on. There are the numbers for his last 6 games. Just 3 for 26. He's going to strike out. That's been his profile. Fouls this one out of play.
But he's going to hit home runs. Over the last couple of years, for a second baseman, only Dan Uggla and Robinson Cano have more home runs in the big leagues than Kelly Johnson. It's nice to have that power in that second spot in your lineup. A lot of teams are starting to go to that. Johnson combined some on-base percentage to go along with that power.
2 balls and a strike to Kelly Johnson. Tampa Bay leads at 1-0. Broken bat, little flare into center field. Jennings gets there easily, and Johnson's retired. Jose Bautista reached base first 3 times in last night's game. Had an RBI single in the first. Walked in the third, walked in the fifth. Finished the night 1 for 3. He homered in the opener of this series against Jeff Neiman. Tampa Bay has always been one of the most aggressive teams defensively. This time they play 3 infielders on the left side of the infield.
You know, that comes right from their manager. I mean, he is one of the best, I think, in all of baseball at thinking outside the box and thinking of possibilities, taking all the information that he can gather and then formulating a game plan. We saw him last year with second base open walk Jose Bautista, runners on first and third, and intentionally walk Bautista.
He has walked Josh Hamilton with the bases loaded. He's not afraid to put his judgment on the line. Bautista out in front of that off-speed pitch, but the curveball got him to chase.
In his last start against the Boston Red Sox, he used the curveball 5 times. That's it. In his 99 pitches. It's a pretty good looking curveball. And like Ricky Romero used his curveball against the Red Sox to be effective.
0-2. Bautista spoils the outside pitch. Jose Bautista still struggling to find his timing. His leg kick is so important to him. He needs to get that foot down before he offers it to pitch.
He was saying the other day that he knew and he knows that the pitchers are pitching him away and they're throwing him a lot of soft stuff away. He just has to foul those pitches off and then hit the ball when they come back inside.
In the dirt, Escobar got a good read and he'll advance. That gets the Blue Jays out of a double play situation.
Well, there's a difference in the first inning. J.P. Arencibia blocks it. The runners are not allowed to advance, and they can't advance. They only scored a 1 run. Molina that time has it go off of his glove on the curveball, and Escobar can move up, takes the double play out.
1-2. Fastball. Bautista was looking for something else, and Hellickson snuck one by him.
He doesn't have really a swing and miss type of stuff, does Hellickson, but he's smart on the mound. This time pumps a fastball right there. That's where Jose's been running into trouble. He's been in between pitches looking for something off speed, and you can see how upset he is. That's a fastball right down the middle.
Adam Lind with 2 outs. Escobar still at second. Mendez just faced Hellickson in 3 at bats. He has a couple of hits. Not a real good test for how Hellickson might fare over the long haul. He's a tough kid to read. He has a lot of weapons.
You know, one of the weapons that he has out on that mound that's impressive is his poise. He's so under control out there of his body, his emotions, his thoughts. Doesn't get too wild, round up. 7 innings or more 14 times last year for the Rays.
2 balls, no strikes. They drive down the right side. That's a fair ball. Escobar around third. He'll come in to score. Lind will go to second base with a 2-out RBI double. Jays have tied it up. Boy, that's a big boost right there. Bautista gets picked up by Adam Lind.
And if you're a pitcher, you're saying, how did he hit this ball? It looked like a cut fastball or something on the inner half and up. Adam Lind just pulls those hands right through the baseball and hits it down the line. The importance of that wild pitch. Escobar can score easily from second base on this double. He might not be able to come around because it was hit so hard if he doesn't go to second.
Edwin Encarnacion. There's another ball in the dirt. That's part of the pregame scouting report as well. You have scouting reports for hitters to kind of attack Hellickson, but you also talk to your base runners. He throws a lot of breaking balls and he'll bounce breaking balls. You have to anticipate those dirt balls.
And if you do that, you move up 90 feet and you score standing on that hit. He might be standing over at third base if he doesn't move up.
Joe Madden referred to his staff as a whole of tiptoeing around the strike zone, trying to be a little bit too fine. He wants them to dictate the tempo of the at-bats, and that's what they did so well last year, and they may have gotten away from that a little bit in the early going.
A lot of breaking balls, a lot of change-ups, a lot of off-speed pitches, more so than what we saw last year. Now, they've got a couple of pitchers, Hellickson and Shields, that both of them have outstanding change-ups, but they don't mean anything unless you pound the strike zone with the fastball. And you can see in this inning right now, he threw the one good fastball to Bautista, but a lot of other off-speed pitches instead of being aggressive. And I think that's what Joe was talking about tiptoeing around.
Another off-speed pitch. It's 3-0. Eric Thames, the left-hander, is standing on deck.
Eddie's swinging a hot bat right now.
Let him swing.
Let him go.
3-0.
Hellickson might throw him another changeup.
Caught the outside corner. Looked like Encarnacion was free to swing. Wasn't a very hittable pitch.
This is from our overhead shot. It just clips the black of the plate.
There's that great changeup, and he will throw it any time. He's got a lot of confidence in it. Served him so well last year. Hellickson won 13 games a year ago in 29 starts. Just goes to show you don't need to be powerful to shut down hitters. The league hit just .210 against Jeremy Hellickson last year.
Velocity doesn't mean outs.
Missed with that fastball inside. He was trying to catch Encarnacion looking, and he missed with the fastball.
Well, one of the staples of Tampa Bay Rays, this nice run that they've had, has been the great pitching. Which so far this year they are 13th in the American League after finishing second both in 2010 and 2011. And I think, you know, if you really look into the numbers, they lead the American League in walks. And that's something that the Tampa Bay Rays never did in years previous.
Eric Thames got to really zero in against Hellickson here. First pitch changeup for a strike. Thames has watched now as Hellickson has kind of battled to get command of his pitches, but you have to clear your mind and think one area, one pitch until you get two strikes. Pushed him back with that fastball, and now a pattern would suggest you're going to get a changeup here.
He's just moving the ball around the plate right now, showing him the fastball and then throwing that changeup. A lot of that has to do with who's catching also. Jose Molina, excuse me, Buck, sat over there with this team, and he knows the strengths and the weaknesses of the Blue Jay batters.
But what do you want to do? You want to pitch to weaknesses or utilize your pitcher's strength?
I think you use your strength. And if your strength is to throw a lot of changeups, then go ahead and do it.
2-1, 2 outs, 2 on. 1-1 game. Tapped off the end of the bat. Hellickson coming over from the mound will tag Thames, and he gets out of a tough situation. The Blue Jays leave 2 on base, but we're back to a tie game at 1-1. Henderson Alvarez had the ground crew come out and do a little bit of groundskeeping and repair the landing area. You can see Blue Jays ground crew out, and they're working on that landing area as they appear to just be filling in some dirt. They don't look like they're putting any clay in there, and maybe it's just been a little bit slippery to start the game.
Yeah, that's what I think, that it was a little bit too wet. Wasn't able to dry out, so they went out there and threw that dirt on there. See if it helps today's starting pitcher. Both of them threw over 20 pitches in the first inning.
Matt Joyce has had 5 hits in the series. And that ball hit him. He'll take first. Trying to come inside, and it just catches his jersey as he was ducking out of the way.
I guess if you're going to get hit, that's the way you want to get hit. Jersey sticking out.
Matt Joyce has 2 doubles, 2 homers, and a single in the series. Jeff Keppinger got the start in last night's game. He went 0 for 3 before he was taken out for a defensive replacement. They utilized him to start the game. He's always been a guy that can swing the bat.
Not a bad time also to use the hit and run. He's the second toughest batter to strike out in the major leagues. Henderson Alvarez is going to be around the plate. Wouldn't be surprised to see him start that runner over at first base.
Something the Rays always do. They always push the offense. They're not going to give up that style of play, even though they've added some pop to their lineup. They're still going to play the way that Joe Madden wants them to play aggressively. And Joyce was running. Boy, he almost was leaning a little too far. It took him a long time to get his momentum headed back to first.
Alvarez did something a little different there, where his head, he was looking at second base. He could still see the runner, and you can see Joyce. He was leaning. If that throw is down on the bag, they have a shot at him. You pitch out now.
Hard to pitch out. 1-0. No run, and there's that Keppinger handling the bat very well. Hits it to second base, moves the runner up. But he had an idea in his head, and he pushes Joyce to second.
I think one of those guys missed a sign. Keppinger probably thought the hit and run was still on. Joyce did not go. That swing indicates that he was thinking that he was going to swing away. Watch this fastball inside. Kind of a half effort there. Joyce started and stopped, but it still worked out for the Rays.
Keppinger grounds out to second base. Jose Molina did not start in the first game. Boy, he thought that pitch was low and never hesitated to turn around and question Dana DeMute. Well, that's where Alvarez has to live, downstairs. Molina chases that high one. Like that slider that moved off the plate away. He's in the hole 0-2. Molina stays alive.
He had some productive at-bats in last night's game, did Molina. He fought off a pitch and hit one to the right side to advance the runner to score the 3rd run of the night for the Rays.
He came in his first at-bat in the 2nd inning, and then he picked up an RBI in the 4th inning with a sharp swing in the left. Another 0-2 pitch pulled on the ground.
These types of hitters could be very frustrating if you're a pitcher. You got 2 strikes, you're looking for the strikeout, but the way that Molina hits, you see him hit from an open stance, and he really dives into the baseball. You throw him a breaking ball, he can still keep his hands back and hit the ball the other way.
And this is when a hitter is most vulnerable. 0-2. And when you got a fastball like Alvarez, I think you're letting him off the hook when you spin a breaking ball. Alvarez hasn't developed a wipeout slider just yet. That was a pretty good one. He got it down and away in a good spot and comes up with the strikeout.
Wiped him out with that one. This is in a good spot for Henderson Alvarez. A little bit more of a late breaker, not like the first breaking ball he threw to Molina. You see Molina is on it, but it's just a good pitch.
John Rodriguez starting at shortstop again tonight. Rodriguez had a big night at the plate. He had a sac fly in his first at bat, walked, and then homered in the 6th, his first home run of the season, and reached on an error in the 9th. Goes after the first pitch, base hit right field. Joyce coming around third. Bautista coming up throwing. It's on line and it gets by Aaron Sebia. Looks like it hit Alvarez, and I'm not sure where it hit him, but he is down on the ground. The ball skipped past Aaron Sebia. Alvarez was backing up the play.
This does not look good. It looked like it hit him in the face when that ball came off the turf.
He was awfully close to Aaron Sebia, and you'd like your pitcher to be a little bit further behind so he has time to either get out of the way or make the play. And now Hap Hudson is out to check on Alvarez. Now they're looking at his collarbone. But the ball skipped right past Aaron Sebia, and it really took a quick skip on that great throw from Bautista.
Henderson was about halfway between home plate and the backstop. Ideally, you'd want your pitcher all the way back to the backstop. And there he is. You see it right off the dirt, and it got him right in the collarbone area.
Yeah, he's way too close. He's got to get back near that on-deck circle to give himself a chance to make a play. He's just barely on the artificial turf, and you can see he couldn't get his glove up in time, and that ball hit him in the shoulder.
That's awfully close, especially if you get blocked off by the catcher and the runner around home plate. It's a couple of throws, but you get back by that backstop, and you're able to see the ball a little bit better, cut it off on the throw. Sean Rodriguez went all the way to third base. He was on first base. And I think the ball went all the way into the dugout, so he's going to be awarded 2 bases.
Take a look at the positioning of Aaron Sebia here as he was waiting on the throw. He's got great position. The ball just skips on him. He's down, gets a good angle, and you can see he swiped at it, and then it goes right past him. Tampa Bay. There's a ground ball up the middle, and it sneaks through. Rodriguez comes in to score. Jennings picks up an RBI, and it's a 3-1 ball game.
You have to shorten up your infield to respect the speed of Desmond Jennings. This ball right off the mound. Escobar is not deep. You can see where he is set up right there because you have to respect that speed, and that's how that ball got through. Couple feet back, and he makes that play.
Rodriguez comes in to score the 2nd run of the inning. Rodriguez hits a base hit, picks up an RBI. He goes to 2nd on the throw and advances to 3rd on the E9. Bautista is charged with an error on a very good throw.
Yeah, one hopper. That just came up on Aaron Sebia.
Jennings bluffed and took a couple of steps towards 2nd. Bautista hits a tough error.
Couldn't do it any better than what he did. Charged it, made a good one-hop throw to the catcher.
Two balls, no strikes, 2 outs, 2 runs in here in the 2nd.
Jennings a threat to steal, 2 for 3 this year, stolen bases. Got a nice lead over there at first base.
There's a strike. Ben Zobrist singled and scored in the first inning. He's starting to heat up a little bit. We mentioned he had a home run in last night's game.
Their best batter in terms of batting average against the fastball. He is a 300 hitter against the fastball, and that's what he hit last night for a home run. It's also the pitch that he got a single on in the first inning here.
That's hit toward Kelly Johnson at second. Zobrist will be retired, but the Rays add 2 more against Henderson Alvarez. They lead it 3-1. Henderson Alvarez was hit on the shoulder by that throw from Bautista from right field. George Poulos, the hit trainer, will go down and attend to him. And you see Bautista coming in. He made a great throw to the plate. There in Sevilla couldn't make the play on it. JP comes up with it. Runner is out at the plate. So the Blue Jays trail again. Now it's a 3-1 ball game. Brett Laurie will try to get something going here in the bottom of the second. Laurie's average at .295 for the season. He's driven in 8. Had a good homestand. 10 for 30.
Starting to show some power. A couple of home runs. One to center and one to left field.
Guys are just settling in with their timing, and everybody kind of jumps to conclusions early on. He's had 39 at bats.
Just like it can go down, it can go up in a hurry.
Well, Josh Hamilton is riding that crest of a wave right now. In his last 4 games, Hamilton is 11 for 16. Hitting .611.
Wow. With some damage, too.
Big damage. Brett Laurie. 2-1 pitch from Hellickson is off the end of the bat and fouled back. We mentioned the Blue Jays, and talking with John Farrell this afternoon, he was talking about the Rays and how they have dominated the Blue Jays the last couple of years. Last year, the Rays won 12 of the 18 games. And I think Blue Jays kind of feel like this is the team that the players want to match up against. You got to catch up to the Rays before you can move on to the Red Sox and the Yankees over the last several years. And Joe Madden has set a pretty high standard in the AL East.
They're getting there, the Blue Jays. You know, much better chance, I think, this year to match up against the Rays with some of their young starting pitchers.
Sounded like it broke his bat as Keppinger fields it and throws out Laurie. Early on in their history, Tampa Bay, like so many young ball clubs, struggled, and because of that, they got a lot of high draft picks. And when you get high draft picks, you better not miss. They've done a good job. James Shields was acquired through draft, and then B.J. Upton, Jeremy Hellickson, Longoria, and Jennings in the same draft. And how about David Price and Matt Moore in 2007?
Not too shabby. They've made some astute trades also. One of their high draft picks, Delman Young, they turned that into Jason Bartlett and Matt Garza.
Kobe Rasmus goes after a first pitch and flies out to left.
Matt Joyce, that left fielder tonight, he came over in a trade from the Detroit Tigers for Edwin Jackson. They got Carlos Pena after he was released by both the Yankees and the Red Sox, and all he did was come over here and hit 46 home runs.
Really interesting how Pena's career turned around with the Rays. Greg Norton was going to be the first baseman DH, and he got hurt right at the end of spring training, and Pena took over and then really blossomed. That's where his career took off. J.P. Arancibia adding 9th tonight, just 2 for 32. Now
here's a chance right here to wind up and hit a ball hard. And he's taken some better swings. He hit 3 balls hard the other day. He's hitting down in the lineup. Hellickson's got to challenge him with a fastball.
And he pops it into the seats. When you're going through a stretch like this, you have a tendency to want to hit the ball hard, want to hit it far. And you got to just shorten up and be quick and try to hit it square.
You're just trying to take anything. That's a good sign.
Yeah, Alvarez is back on the dugout bench. He really won't feel the impact of that ball hitting him in the shoulder until tomorrow. Arancibia sneaks it through into center field. Hit it off the end of the bat, but it's a base hit. A 2-out hit, and that'll turn the lineup over.
Yeah, it may be a start for JP. Just like Jose Bautista at the beginning of this homestand. Remember, he snuck about a 25 hopper through the middle, and we said maybe that'll get him going, and it did. 2-1 changeup by Hellickson right off the end of the bat, and that'll get JP going.
That went. Hudson, the assistant trainer, obviously checking with Alvarez, and they gave him a fist pump and said, "Okay, I'm good. Now go sit down." Yunel Escobar, he's had 5 hits in his last 6 trips to the plate. Singleton scored in the first. Out in front of that off-speed pitch. Average up to 278.
When he is hitting the way he is hitting, he's very unpredictable. He could rifle a ball down the right field line, snuck one through on the right side his first time up. He can hit the ball into the gaps in left center field, right center field. That's when you know that he is seeing the ball and he's hitting it all over the field.
This one is headed towards center, but Rodriguez will cut it off and throw to first in time. John Rodriguez showing good range, goes behind the bag at second and throws out Escobar. Fans, don't miss this. The Blue Jays All Access Contest, part of the Sportsnet charity broadcast auction. By making a $50 donation to Jays Care, you will be entered for a chance to win the ultimate Blue Jays All Access experience. And that includes a meet and greet with Paul Beeston and Alex Anthopoulos. The contest closes at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, April 27th. Visit www.bluejays/broadcast auction to enter today. The Sportsnet charity broadcast auction coming your way April 30th. Always a great event taking place early on for a great cause, the Jays Care Foundation. And the All Access Contest, an opportunity to get involved for a $50 donation. Middle of the order for Tampa Bay, Pena, Longoria, Scott to bat here in the third inning. We're seeing all kinds of different defensive alignments with Pena here leading off the inning. Lowry's out in right, Johnson straight away at second, and Escobar is shortened up at shortstop, a little more straight away, trying to guard against a possible bunt by Pena.
Last night he was in a little bit closer for Pena. That just doesn't sound right together. Carlos Pena in bunt for a base hit.
Yeah, it's really something he hasn't done much of throughout his career, even though he's been hitting in this situation. He's had 2 bunt hits in this series. There's a strike.
Maybe think of something else. Put something else in his mind with this type of defense.
Laurie is out there in shallow right. Now Escobar will back up with 2 strikes, not anticipating a 2-strike bunt attempt from Pena. Pena is sitting on 998 career hits. Just off the plate outside.
Maybe that's why he was bunting for those hits the first night here.
But I mean, if you're going to get 1,000 hits, you don't want to say you're bunting for your 1,000th career hit.
Not when you've got the type of power that he has.
He has 23 career bunt hits. Alvarez is a great athlete, and he'll take it himself. I mean, he can really cover some ground. We have seen this from his first day in the big leagues. He's athletic. He can handle the ball back to the mound, and here he makes a great play. I don't know if anybody else can make this play.
Watch him. The whole key for him is he gets himself in a great position after he releases the ball. He's in great fielding position. Good athletes can make their bodies do things, and they've got good feet, and he certainly has that.
Evan Longoria singled into first. Longoria's off to a good start at the plate. He's hitting over 300 now. Last year he played 2 games and then injured himself. Had a oblique muscle problem and really was hampered early on. And he still ended up with 99 ribbies.
99, 31 home runs, 99 RBIs. He missed 26 games with that oblique strain at the beginning of the season. And when you come back from that, it's almost like starting all over.
And the pitchers have already made 3 or 4 starts. They have the upper hand. Alvarez checking the scoreboard to make sure he's got the right count. It's 1-2. Alvarez shows no signs of being bothered by that shot he took off of his left shoulder. Strike 3 call. Boy, he had a pitch in his mind, and he shook Aaron Sebia until he got the fastball.
That's what you like. You like to see a young pitcher take control. He knows how he feels out there. Maybe Aaron Sebia was calling for a changeup. He shook him off and then lasered a fastball right on the corner. You can see it's high enough, right at the knees.
2 outs here in the third. Luke Scott hit into a double play to end the first inning. Brian Butterfield continues to move his defense around. Luke Scott started out in the Indians organization, spent some time in Houston. Most recently, he was with the Orioles. Tampa Bay needed a bat, and they were well aware of Scott's ability to drive runners in, having seen him play with Baltimore. Big question was, how well would he recover from that right shoulder surgery?
I would say that everything there is fine.
Pops this one up toward left field. Eric Thames coming in. Escobar going back. Thames makes the catch. A 1-2-3 third inning. Blue Jays get something going. They're going to be right in the middle of their order. Kelly Johnson, Jose Bautista, and Adam Lind. Any Place TV, now Rogers customers have more ways to watch Sportsnet live coverage of the Blue Jays. Watch the action live all season from your smartphone. Download the Rogers Live app from your app store. And there's Ace. He is the #1 fan. He's just hanging out at Rogers Center and just hoping the boys will come up with a couple of runs to get back in this ball game. We told you the fans are young around here. That's Big Ace. Not quite so young. 2, 3, 4 in the Blue Jays order. Kelly Johnson takes a first pitch strike from Jeremy Hellickson. That off-speed pitch. He goes after it. 0-2. Down and away with the fastball. I love that 0-2 pitch. I think that's the best pitch to throw. When you're 0-2, the hitter is really vulnerable, and that pitch is a long way from his eyes.
What are you going to do with that pitch? Maybe foul it off unless he makes a mistake. He comes right back there with that fastball away. Good sequence there from Hellickson.
One out in the third. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. New York starting to heat up a bit. The Yankees lost the first 3 games of the season to this Tampa Rays ball club down at Tropicana Field. Hellickson missed badly with that first pitch changeup to Bautista. Bautista was caught looking at strike 3, a fastball that got a lot of the plate.
Looking for something off speed, and he crossed him up. I bet he doesn't do that again.
Taking Bautista all the way.
Hellickson admitted after his last start that he probably could have mixed his pitches a little bit better. He said he knew what he wanted to throw. He says, I just have to do a better job of throwing more strikes, attacking a little bit more.
Good rip, and he fouled it back. How long might it take this Rays pitching staff to really get comfortable with a couple of new catchers?
I think that has a lot to do with it. Jose Molina coming over from the Blue Jays. Those pitchers, the starters and the relievers, they have to get together.
1-2 outside. It's very difficult to establish any kind of patterns in spring training. You can't set up hitters because you're dealing with a different set of hitters. Oftentimes you won't even see big leaguers in a game until the latter parts of spring training. Fouls that ball off. So when you're catching a Hellickson in spring, he might be working on all changeups, just trying to get a feel for that changeup early on. So you can't really develop any kind of rapport as far as how Hellickson wants to use his pitches.
Yeah, he knows what his good pitches are.
That's hit off the end of the bat. Hellickson will have to cover first. He gets there in time, and Bautista's retired.
And Hellickson is a good athlete also, just like Henderson Alvarez. But Jose Molina knows the type of pitcher that Hellickson is, but he doesn't know how he likes to set up hitters or how he likes to finish off hitters or in what count against certain pitchers do you like to go to. And I think that's going to take a couple of months for them to get very comfortable with the new catchers that they have here and the feel that they have out on that mound.
Adam Lind had an RBI double in the first. He's driven in 6 now for the season. He had a pretty good pitch. Hellickson tried to bust him inside with a fastball, and he ripped it down the right field line.
Yeah, I don't know how he kept that ball fair. It looked like a cut fastball about letter high right on the inner half, and he was able to get his hands on top of the ball, get the barrel to the baseball, and then keep it fair down the right field line. A lot of times you see guys hook that ball.
And he's now 4 for 8 in the series. He had a 3 for 3 night with a walk in the first game. Went 0 for 4 last night. An important bat in this Blue Jays lineup. And one of the most important aspects of Lynn's attack, I believe, in hitting doubles. And he had a double here tonight. He has 4 now on the regular season. Last year he had 16.
When he had that big year, it was almost every night you could hear him say, Adam Lind with another double.
46 in 2009. 46 doubles, 35 home runs. 16 a year ago, 16 doubles and 26 home runs for Lind last year. But I think a double is even more effective at times than a home run, because it keeps the line moving. You keep the pitcher out of the stretch. A home run, everything is over with. He starts fresh. He's back in his windup. But you string together 3 or 4 doubles in a row, and the pitcher feels like he's on a merry-go-round. So one thing Lind has done very well this year also is laying off that 2-strike pitch and working the pitcher into walks.
Seeing the ball. Another walk by a Ray pitcher. That's the second walk tonight for Hellickson. You know, you're just asking for trouble when you've got those 2-out walks, especially when you've got some power coming up like the Blue Jays do.
We had mentioned the Jays have homered in 5 straight games, a total of 11 home runs. Fastball caught the outside corner. That's one thing that this young pitching staff for the Jays, I think, has recognized. If you stay in the ball game into the 7th, 8th, even 9th inning, this team's going to score some runs for you.
Yep.
Just stay out there and stay away from those crooked numbers.
Well, they've got a couple of different ways they can score now. I think they have better balance offensively. That's one of the things that they set out to do in the offseason when they're putting this team together offensively. Better balance meaning left-handers and right-handers, speed guys, on base percentage guys, and power guys when you add all that up together.
Ball in the dirt. Molina gets on his feet and keeps Lind at first base.
You know, let's be honest, there was some holes last year in the offensive 9 that they would throw out there.
Like Swiss cheese.
Remember in June when we were talking about the bottom of the lineup? Just, just nothing was being generated there.
Third base was a black hole for a long time. No production whatsoever. 1-2, 2 outs. Molina may have taken a strike away from Hellickson with that fake to first base. Looked like a pretty good pitch.
Yeah, we've seen Dana Demuth call that low fastball. That low pitch. But Molina was jockeying with Adam Lind over there at first base.
Here's the 2-2. Off Longoria. Encarnacion is hustling down the line, and he'll get there. Boy, this will be interesting. Another scoring issue here, and Longoria has had a rough series in the field.
He made 3 errors in that first night. This ball is smoked by Encarnacion right at Evan Longoria, the Gold Glover.
Longoria made 3 errors on Tuesday night. That was a hot shot off Aaron Sevia's bat. He also drops this ball right here for his second error, and then throws this one away at first base. His third error of the game. A Gold Glover. Since 2000, Gold Glovers that have committed 3 errors in a game: Albert Pujols, Alex Rodriguez, Ray Ordonez, Roberto Alomar, Cesar Estouris, and Chuck Knobloch. Now you can include Evan Longoria.
And that's the first time in his career, Major League, minor leagues, that he's ever made 3 errors in a game.
That was also an error. Longoria has 5 errors already. He has 5 of the Rays' 7 errors.
He never made more than 14 in a season. He came into this year with just 54 errors.
Well, this is where you really got to make it hurt. The inning continues because of the error by Longoria. Tampa Bay, traditionally, they don't give you many opportunities.
No.
They don't make many mistakes.
73 errors all of last year, which was the best in all of baseball. They're one of the finest fielding teams in all of the major leagues. And they give you a chance here, a 2-out walk and then an error. So now you got to cash them in.
And this really puts pressure on the pitcher. You keep him out there for another 8-9 pitches. Hellickson's already thrown 62 pitches in this game.
Yeah, 2 outs in the 3rd inning. Now he's not a max effort guy, so they can stretch him out just a little bit more, but
these pitches in this situation are max effort pitches.
Yeah.
You got runners on, you're trying to get out of an inning. You're grinding hard to come up with the right pitch. It's an 0-2 count.
And that was made clear to me yesterday by John Farrell. He's saying, hey, when you always have guys on base and you're grinding and you're throwing 20, 25 pitches an inning, that really takes its toll on you.
0-2, 2 outs, 2 on. Strike 3 call. Thames caught looking at a Hellickson fastball. Hellickson strikes out 2 in the inning. The Blue Jays leave 2 on. Hellickson paints the outside corner. Looked like that ball was borderline low. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. The roof is open tonight here at Rogers Center, and Henderson Alvarez has retired 4 straight. Gets Matt Joyce to go after that first pitch. Nice to have the roof peeled back. This is the second earliest they have opened the roof here at Rogers Center. Back in 2002, April 16th was the earliest they played open air baseball.
It got hot down on the field during batting practice today with the sun shining.
Who noticed the open air baseball right out the chute? Jose Bautista.
Yes.
First thing he said was, "Oh man, the roof's open."
What, we haven't hit enough home runs?
This ball is pulled on the ground. Lind will wave Alvarez off, take it himself. That's 5 straight now by Alvarez. He's retired 5 in a row. We have seen throughout this homestand, this is the 9th game in the homestand, and the ball was flying out of here. The ball really carries when the roof is closed. There's no wind currents whipped around by the open roof, and pitchers get a little gun shy when they start seeing batting practice when the roof is closed.
Spoken like a true hitter, Jose Bautista. Oh, come on. Of course he wants it closed.
First pitch strike. Jeff Keppinger he grounded to second his first time out in what might have been a messed up hit and run. Matt Joyce broke earlier in that at bat and then didn't run on the pitch that Keppinger went after, and he had a funky swing.
Yeah, he broke and he stopped. Keppinger gave himself up. He's going to fit in nicely, I think, with this team. Interchangeable part type of guy. He can play multiple positions. Come off the bench, a veteran. He's been around, put wood on the ball.
He gets wood on this one, but there is Escobar at short. Alvarez is working a good part of the zone now. He's downstairs and keeping the ball on the ground.
Using his changeup a little bit more, and he's throwing it for strikes. It's a little bit closer to the strike zone that we saw in the first couple of innings. And he's flipping his breaking ball in there for called strikes.
8 of the 11 outs recorded by Alvarez have been on the ground. Another thing he's done very well again tonight is retired the first batter he's faced. He's retired 3 of 4. So now during the season he's retired 15 of the 17 first batters he's faced. Boy, that's always a tremendous advantage for a pitcher.
Certainly makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? That has to be the worst. You face a guy and all of a sudden the next thing you know you're in the stretch.
Jose Molina struck out his first time up. Pops this one headed toward the seats. The only first batter that Alvarez didn't retire tonight was hit by a pitch in the second, and he came around to score. Molina in the hole. 0-2. Bautista is really shaded over toward the foul line and shallow and right. Alvarez has picked it up a notch. That last fastball was 96.
And it's a fluid motion from Henderson. Nice and easy. Hides the ball well, and it's right on top of you.
Off the end of the bat, Lynn knocks it down. He's got plenty of time, and there's Alvarez. Boy, Lynn stayed with it. He knew Molina was running, and Alvarez was right there at first waiting on Lynn to make a throw. Lynn knew if he could knock it down and come up with it, he had a chance to get Molina, and he scrambled. But look at Alvarez like a first baseman. enjoying those big comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone are guests of TD. The TD Comfort Zone, courtesy of TD. Great seats down there. Get to see the action, and they saw a very good defensive play in the inning. Had men knock down a ball and then scrambled for it, and Henderson Alvarez waited for the throw, and they retired Molina. So the Blue Jays are down by 2. Need to get something going. It'll be 7, 8, 9 in the Blue Jays order. Jeremy Hellickson, as we mentioned, has thrown 63 pitches through 3 innings.
He said it. He says, I need to mix it up a little bit better.
But you can mix it up in the strike zone.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Throw more strikes. That's what he kept saying after that game against the Red Sox his last time out.
Laurie hits the liner toward left, but Joyce over to his right makes the catch. We mentioned you don't have to be a power pitcher to overpower hitters, and look at this last season's opponent's batting average. Justin Verlander, we know he can dominate any hitter, but Jeremy Hellickson, with the combination of command and finesse, really was tough to hit against last year, and the other guys on that list are all power guys.
Power guys except Hellickson. Hellickson's fastball can top out about 92 miles an hour, but you know what he does really well? He gets you out back and forth. He gets you out in front on your front foot, or he'll do what he did to Jose Bautista's first time up, have him looking for that breaking ball and slip a fastball by him.
Definition of pitching in my mind is to disrupt the timing of the hitter, and Hellickson has all the weapons to do that. Blue Jay hitters always sit on the bench and talk about the pitcher they're facing, see if somebody can't come up with a key. Colby Rasmus, that's going to be a base hit. Longoria will let it roll, but it's a fair ball. Another dimension of Colby Rasmus in his game.
Catch the third baseman back, and Colby squares and gets this ball down with those long strides. Even if he comes up with it, he's not going to get him. He can see where Longoria is playing. That's a perfect punt.
There was no rush, no surprise. He just calmly squares around and makes sure he got a good pitch to hit, and butted it right to third. J.P. Arancibia. It's jammed on that pitch and pulls it foul. Arancibia had a base hit his first time up. Went into center field. You could see Molina with the flip of the thumb, and that was an indication to go to first. The running play is controlled from the bench these days, and that's why catchers look into the dugout. And a series of options that plays they will call for the pitcher. Fastball catches the outside corner. It's 0-2. Madden moves his defense around, and now Keppinger, who was initially on the third base side of second with 2 strikes, has moved over to the first base side of second.
Depending on the hitter, depending on the count. Keppinger now with 2 strikes on Arancibia feels like he might want to try and hit one the other way with 2 strikes.
He hits it foul off the end of the bat. I've been in these situations before when you just can't buy a hit. Feels like every pitch is a perfect pitch, and every breaking ball is the best one you've ever seen.
You walk into the batter's box and you look up at the scoreboard and it says the count's 0-2.
Every time.
Every time, and they haven't thrown a pitch yet. The ball looks like the size of an aspirin, but you just battle your way through it. take extra batting practice, do whatever you need to do, and then one day you'll step into that box and go, wow, something feels right.
Another 0-2 pitch there in Sebia. Rasmus at first. Pulls this one foul. And these might be the worst guys to try to break out against because they're always back and forth. Give you one fastball away and then bust you inside and take something off, and every pitch is a different speed.
Yeah, in and out, up and down, backwards, forwards.
Sometimes it's easier to face the David Price who throws 97 consistently. Not real easy, but easier.
That's a relative term, isn't it?
Inside.
Well, just see the ball. I think that's the start of getting out of a slump. You want to see the ball. When you do that, your natural athletic ability will help you to hit the ball. Maybe you say one thing to yourself, okay, I'm going to stay on top of the ball. Clear your mind as much as possible. But you got to see that ball first.
What did you do when you were going through a tough spot? Was there one thing you did at the plate that helped you get going?
I would bend over before I got into the batter's box and pick up some dirt and say, shorten your swing. I want as short as possible. And what that did was help me to stay back just a little bit more, see the ball just a little bit longer. I didn't care how far I hit it. I just wanted to hit it with a short swing.
And Sebia drives this ball to right. Zobrist is not going to get it. It bangs off the wall. Rasmus is coming around third. Aaron Sebia has driven home Colby Rasmus all the way from first. First double of the season for J.P. Aaron Sebia.
Boy, he battled. It was 0-2, but he was seeing the ball off of Jeremy Hellickson, fouling a couple of balls off, and then went down and got it. Hit this ball hard to right center field. When the ball ricochets off the wall away from Zobrist, that's going to allow Colby Rasmus, who gets a good read on this ball, gets out there to score easily without a throw. You can see how quick he is coming around those bases.
Rasmus eats up a lot of ground. A very easy stride. So now it's a one-run game. Tying runs at second. Yunel Escobar. Way outside.
Jeff Keppinger, the second baseman, is going to get right in behind second base to keep Aaron Sebia close there. Escobar's been swinging a very hot bat.
Hits this ball on the ground. Rodriguez, high throw. Here comes Aaron Sebia toward the plate. The throw is not in time.
It's a base running. Aaron Sebia, after he doubles home a run, he advances to third, and then when Rodriguez airmails this ball over Pena's head at first base, he doesn't stop. Here he comes, he picks it, and watch him come around, and he reads it. And what I like is this head first dive. Get those hands right in there before the tag by Molina to tie this game up. Look at this slide. Beautiful.
Training to mute the umpire standing around top of the play and saw the hand of Aaron Sebia swipe across home plate.
Here it is from up top. JP knows that if you give him a little bit of a lane, and that's what Molina did when he was reaching for that ball, he's able to slide in underneath the tag.
3-3 game. Kelly Johnson. Kelly Johnson has slipped into an 0 for 13. One out. Pops this one up back behind home plate. Molina near the screen stays with it. And Johnson is retired. J.P. Arancibia, a pair of hits tonight. Picked up an RBI. Had a little squibber off the end of the bat in the second. Might have been the spark that he needed.
Yeah, because that at bat he put up there where he battled Hellickson was a beautiful thing. Shortened it up and he hit that ball. He scalded that ball to right field.
Really carried on the line over at Ben Zobrist's head into right. Jose Bautista with Escobar at first. Colby Rasmus got things going with a one-out bunt. And it was a beauty. Evan Longoria had no play at all. Rasmus got on base. Arancibia drove him in all the way from first.
You know, I like him down there at the bottom of the order. And I don't think he's going to stay there if he continues to produce. But one of the reasons why I like him down there is his speed element. Arancibia has got some pop. And if Rasmus does get on, he doesn't clog the bases or anything like that. He can steal your base. He can score from first on an extra base hit.
Bautista lifts it into right field. Zobrist broke back. Now he comes in, and the Blue Jays are retired here in the fourth, but they have tied it up. 2 runs on 2 hits. Now it's time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn at the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Season with At 12 for your iPad, iPhone, BlackBerry, or Android device. Listen to live radio broadcasts and receive batter-by-batter information for every game. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Well, we got another one going here tonight. Another good ball game between the Rays and the Jays. It's a 3-3 tie here in the 5th. Sean Rodriguez singled and drove in a run in the second. Rodriguez hit his first home run of the season last night. Takes an inside fastball, and looks like Alvarez has settled in.
Working a little bit quicker. Now Farrell talking to his outfield instructor and first base coach, Torey Lovello, going over some strategy.
Nothing like an 0-2 fastball down and away. 3-pitch strikeout for Alvarez.
With big movement also. As a hitter, this ball looks like it's outside, and watch how it comes back. That two-seam fastball just clips that corner. An unhittable hit pitch. All Rodriguez can do is look at it, hits the corner, and he knows it.
This one is not going to stay in the ballpark. Desmond Jennings jumps on the first pitch. His second career home run against Henderson Alvarez has given the Rays a 4-3 lead. Well, he likes that ball up in the zone.
He certainly knows what to do with it, and he knows what to do with it against the Blue Jays. 6 career home runs now against Blue Jay pitching. He came up on fire last year. It's a pitch that's up in the strike zone and in, and he gets all of it. And here at Rogers Center, that's his 4th home run and 33 at bats.
Tampa Bay has utilized the long ball in this series. They've now hit 6 home runs against the Jays in the 3 games. Desmond Jennings, a very interesting young player, just getting his feet on the ground here in the big leagues.
B.J. Upton's supposed to come back tomorrow off the disabled list, and Jim Adams already said that Jennings will move over to left field, where he started the year in spring training.
Sounds like that'll push Matt Joyce back into a platoon situation over and right with Zobrist. And then Zobrist will go back in to play second base when they're facing a right-handed pitcher. And Zobrist takes the walk. So 1 out home run and now a walk. Tampa Bay coming right back after the Blue Jays tied it up with 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th. Carlos Pena has walked and grounded to first. Blue Jays will put the defense on the infield at double play depth.
Pena does not hit a lot of ground balls. He's got that uppercut swing, gets the ball up into the air. So he doesn't hit into a lot of ground ball double plays.
Ball is off the plate outside. Alvarez has been economical. He's thrown just 71 pitches as he works here in the 5th. Aaron Sebe is going to go to the mound after the walk to Ben Zobrist, and Alvarez has thrown 2 straight balls to Pena. This is a situation where Aaron Sebe says, okay, we got a power hitter to play. You got to continue to attack. You can't just flip something up there to Pena.
You know, when he was attacking down in the strike zone. He was using his fastball, mixing in a change up and a slider. That home run was up to Jennings.
Interesting that Alvarez has now allowed a home run in 6 straight starts, going back to last year.
Yeah, that is hard to imagine, the way he throws and how much movement he gets on his pitches.
Gave up a home run to Chris Davis against the Orioles and a home run to Dustin Pedroia when he faced Boston. He opened up the home schedule for the Blue Jays against the Red Sox. There's a strike. But he is a sinker ball pitcher, and if he works down, he's going to get an awful lot of ground ball outs. But boy, he has left a few pitches up, and it's got to be very inviting for a hitter after dealing with all those sinking fastballs to see a pitch up out over the plate. And Jennings jumped all over the first pitch he saw here in the 5th.
You know what he's learning here is in the big leagues, they don't miss those.
Well, that's the difference, and obviously it's a dramatic difference between minor league hitters and big league hitters. Not only are the big league hitters much more disciplined, but you've got 9 good hitters.
Every one of them can go up there with a game plan, and more information at the major league level. dissect what you're trying to do to you. Gave up 21 home runs in total in the minors.
This ball is popped in the air toward left field. Eric Thames will move to his right. That's the catch. Pena's retired. There are 2 outs. He's pitching through 11 games. First 6 games, they did a good job. 1-4-2 with a good ERA. But over the last 5 games, it's been a little bit of a different story. What trends do you take from this from the pitching staff?
The home runs. Look at that last column there. 13 home runs given up in their last 5 games. Opponent's batting average higher.
Evan Longoria looks at one down the stairs. Boy, Longoria's had a rough series in the field. He's committed 4 errors in this series.
He was telling me before this series about the turf. I asked him about it. Is it any different? And he said it's flattened out, and you don't get the true hops. It's the same type of infield, outfield that they have at Tropicana Field. But he said he could take a ball and drop, and it would bounce all the way up to him.
The unofficial surface is AstroTurf.
Yep.
And the difference between the 2 surfaces, at Tropicana Field, it's permanent. They don't lift it up and they don't take it out for other events. Here they roll it up and it gets compacted, and then they have to put it down again. And at Tropicana Field, it's permanent field.
And it's spongier, truer hops. Good pitch there. You don't have the seams that you have here. A lot of seams here that you have to deal with, where the 2 pieces of the turf come together.
Well, another dramatic difference is the fact the infield is dirt in Tropicana Field. You don't have the sliding pits that they have here at Rogers Center. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. The Rays have retaken the lead at 4-3. So now with the full count and 2 outs, Zobrist will be off on the pitch. Lynn will stay put at first, holding him as close as possible, not wanting to really give him a big lead. There goes Zobrist. Ball is driven to center and deep. Rasmus back looking up. This ball is gone. Evan Longoria, his 3rd career home run against Henderson Alvarez. And the Rays have hit a couple of home runs here. Last time they faced Alvarez, they hit 3 in the ball game.
Longoria, one of them to dead center field, almost like the ball we just saw Evan Longoria hit. He's so quick at the plate. He's so compact. Stands straight up, and he knows he got all of that. You can see extending through that baseball. And it hits off the railing there. Bounces back into play. He's got great hands. That's why he's such a good 3rd baseman.
Very fluid at the plate. That long, smooth swing generates an awful lot of carry. 2nd home run of the season for Evan Longoria. He has staked Jeremy Hellickson to a 3-run lead here in the 5th. The DH, Luke Scott, a ball on the strike. Sharply hit on the ground, but Kelly Johnson is there. Scott is retired, but Tampa Bay scores 3 runs on a pair of home runs. Blue Jays, it'll be Lynn, Encarnacion, and Eric Thames trying to stretch their way back into this game. NHL playoffs are off to a wild start, and there's been a lot of fights, and TV ratings are through the roof. Sportsnet magazine examines the dilemma of the Stanley Cup playoffs. First round in this week's edition of Sportsnet magazine. Available on newsstands now. And it has been a raucous start to the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Got the wrestling guy up on top there.
Very appropriate.
Very appropriate.
It fit right in. And some of them haven't been wrestling. They've been throwing big haymakers. Adam Lind off to a good start tonight. He drove in a run with a double in his first at bat. That came with 2 outs in the first, and then he has walked. His on-base percentage is up to .376. That's a good number. That's where he was when he had that great season in 2009. He had a .370 on-base percentage. That year, he was the American League Silver Slugger as the best DH in the league.
Under 300 the last couple of years.
And he's been able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. He's had 20 home runs in 3 consecutive seasons, but I think the big drop-off is in that double department last year with just 16. But he sees the ball much better. You can see it in his approach. We saw it in spades in the opening night when he had 3 hits against Jeff Neiman. Hit a home run to the opposite field, and his 2 singles also went to left.
Yeah, one of them off of McGee, a hard-throwing lefty out of the bullpen. You know he is seeing the ball when he's doing that.
And 2, it looks like he's got a real solid plan. He's not swinging at every strike. Very patient. Now with 2 strikes, he's got to shift gears a bit. Hellickson makes a good play on the comeback here. Lind is retired. 1 out here in the 5th. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Anderson 3 for 3 with 4 RBI, 3 home runs, and the Yankees are putting it on the Twins.
Who started that game for Minnesota today?
Minnesota was Swarzak.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Went 2 2/3, gave up 6 runs on 8 hits, including 3 home runs. The Yankees are heating up. Edwin Encarnacion has been on base twice. He's reached on a walk and reached on an error. Jeremy Hellickson beat the Yankees in his first start. He went 8 2/3, held them to just 3 hits, and threw 118 pitches. This ball is hit hard to left field. Joyce is back, and it's over his glove. Encarnacion is headed for second. Joyce tracks it down and gets it back to the infield. Another double for Edwin Encarnacion. He has 5 doubles now, and he's been on board 3 times tonight.
Looked like he got fooled by a pitch from Hellickson. Kept the bat back and powers the ball over the head of Joyce in left field. He was out on his front foot, but still had enough to short up the wall in left field. Watch Edwin stay back, go down and get it. We've been talking about the 2-handed swing of Encarnacion. You can't do that every time. That time he had to go down and reach for that ball, and finishes with 1 hand.
Well, that time it looked like it was necessary to get to that pitch. He was a little bit fooled by it, but stayed on it. Eric Thames with 1 out.
In between. Eric right now not sure what he wants to do up there. That looked like a very hittable pitch from Hellickson.
Get it in your mind that you're going to wait back for a breaking ball and then swing at a fastball. That's being in between. Hits this ball on the ground. Keppinger at second base will throw Thames out. Encarnacion moves to third on the play. Ray Murphy talking to Kelly Johnson, and Johnson is in the midst of an 0 for 14. So this is where a hitting coach makes his money. It's not during BP. It's not during soft toss. It's not during T-work. is playing psychologist in the middle of the game.
Talking about what you see, you might pick something up from the pitcher, pick something up on the hitter. Maybe we're doing something. You're right. This is where he makes his money, right here.
He fights it off and fouls it out of play. Murphy says he never talks about mechanics during the course of a game. He talks about the mental approach of, are you clear in your mind? Have you settled on one pitch? What are you looking for? He wants to know that you have the clear mental approach. It's too difficult for a hitter to think mechanics and hit at the same time.
That time is earlier this afternoon when you're down in the cage, you're out on the field taking batting practice. You can work on your fundamentals and your mechanics. But it's too hard to hit, to stand in that box and say, okay, where are my feet? Where are my hands? How's my head look?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, that baseball's on top of you.
In the catcher's glove. But my hands were in a good spot. Ball and the strike. 2 outs. Off the end of the bat. Pena will flip to Hellickson in time to retire Laurie, and the Blue Jays strand another base runner. They have left 7 on in this ball game, and they trail Tampa Bay 6-3. Now it's time for the Farm Report, and we're going to take a look at New Hampshire. AA New Hampshire. Deck McGuire last night, an outstanding starting performance. He went 6 2/3. Held the opponents to just 1 hit and allowed a run, and he walked 3, struck out 3, threw 99 pitches. And Deck McGuire, just 22 years old. He is one of the bright starting pitching prospects in the minor leagues, and that was an interesting game in AA. Zach Wheeler was pitching for the Mets in that game. Wheeler was acquired by the Mets in the Carlos Beltran deal last season with San Francisco.
He was a #1 pick of the Giants. Big strong guy. Another interesting thing down in New Hampshire. Ball's lifted to right field by Joyce. Brett Cecil got the start tonight, and from what we understand, he's had to come out of the game in the first inning. Trainer was brought out there, and as soon as we hear something, we'll let you know. It sounds like there might be an injury.
Yeah, that's unusual. Cecil started the game and had to be removed from the ball game, so we hope that it's nothing serious. 1 out here in the 6th. Jeff Keppinger is grounded out twice tonight. Tampa Bay has hit 2 more home runs tonight. They've hit 7 in the series. The Blue Jays have now allowed 20 home runs. Desmond Jennings has a home run tonight. 20 home runs allowed. That's the most in the majors. And that was a point of concern last year for the Blue Jays. And one thing they hoped to address was cutting down on the number of base on balls they allowed and keeping the ball in the ballpark.
Yeah, and fill up your starting staff with simple ball pitchers so you keep the ball on the ground and keep it in the keep it out of the air and keep it in the ballpark.
And the ground ball off the bat of Jeff Keppinger. David Price. Looks like somebody's got him tied up just to keep him in one spot.
That's how we feel sometimes when you have to go face guys like him.
That's what he does. He handcuffs hitters, and now they have handcuffed David Price. This is a free-spirited team for sure, and a good one. 2 outs. Jose Molina, the catcher. Molina has struck out and grounded out. Fights this one off and flares it into foul territory down the right field line. Joe Madden likes his players to be themselves. He sets an interesting tone for his ball club, and when he came over, they were just kind of floundering.
Yeah.
There was no direction, and he just kind of sat back that first year and made some notes. Kind of thought about what he wanted to do, and obviously came from a great organization, the Angels. He was with the Angels in the minor leagues and then became Mike Scioscia's coach and eventually moved to bench coach. And now here he is, a very successful manager in the big leagues.
That's interesting you say that he lets them be themselves.
Well, Alvarez bounces back here in the 6th, a 1-2-3-6 inning, but the Rays have a 3-run lead. This breaking ball gets Molina. Blue Jays got some work to do. Quebec will open up the 4-game series against Kansas City tomorrow night. We'll be there, the Blue Jays on Sportsnet. It all begins tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the pregame show, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time. First of 4 from Kansas City. Kansas City is the host of the All-Star Game this year, and you can bet they're going to put on a big show all summer long. And Quebec will try to get the road trip off on the right foot. He has had a great start to his season. He's 2-0 with a 1.42 ERA. He'll be opposed by Luke Hochevar, the right-hander. Open air baseball here tonight at Rogers Center for the first time this season. Colby Rasmus started the rally in the 4th with a 1-out bunt. He'll lead things off here in the 6th. Takes the first pitch strike from Hellickson.
Evan Longoria creeping in a little bit now with Rasmus at the plate. He'll show that he's back, and then on the pitch he'll start coming in and try and take that bunt away. Rasmus surprised him last time with a bunt base hit.
Ball on the strike. What differences do you see in Colby Rasmus at the plate this year?
No leg kick. Yeah, that's the first thing that you see. He seems to be smoother. His It's not a two-part swing where his leg goes up and his hands swing through the ball. It's a smoother swing.
This ball is going to be a few rows out of play.
Last year it really looked like he was going around the ball, and then all of his hits were pulled to right field. This year he doesn't have that higher leg kick. He still has a little bit of a load on the backside.
Well, the key to anybody's success at the plate is getting that foot down. And Murphy says, you know, I've just talked to him. He's got to be a little gentler with that leg kick and get it down on the ground before you start your swing. That last foul ball down the right side, a fan had it played perfectly, but then, oops, over the back side of that seat.
Where's my help?
He thought he had it all the way.
So you think this game is easy to play, huh?
And then that seat got him. Rasmus, another ball down there, giving that fan another chance. Tampa Bay, they're just 6-6 in the early going, and they never get too full of themselves. That's Stephen Vogt, and Vogt has established a record this season. Oh, there's a fastball that catches the outside corner.
Yeah, a record that you don't want to have. Team record. Just caught off guard by that fastball. Was that the guy who got the baseball? Watch this pitch from Hellickson, mixing it up nicely now as he paints that outside corner. 4 strikeouts tonight for Hellickson.
Looks like the fan that fell over the seat got a text message from one of his friends. Nice play, buddy. I mentioned Stephen Vogt. His record is he's 0 for 13 to start his career with Tampa Bay. That's a franchise record. This is high and deep to left field. J.P. Arancibia is robbed by Matt Joyce. Matt Joyce stayed right with it and went right to the top of the wall and takes one away from Arancibia. Boy, he didn't give up. He went right to the wall, went straight up, and pulls it down.
Used all of his 6'2" to go up there and take away an extra base hit from J.P. Arancibia. This is an encouraging sign. An inside fastball, and he hits it. This is a home run if the roof is closed. And J.P. just begging for some hits, just cannot believe it. Jeremy Hellickson liking what he sees from his left fielder.
Yeah, when that ball came off the bat, it looked like it was going to be well out of the ballpark, and that's the difference of this ballpark. Open air and closed. Just a little bit of a cool night here, and the ball didn't carry. 2 outs now, back to the top of the order. First pitch changeup. Escobar goes after. Hellickson has now thrown 101 pitches, and I would imagine this will be it for him.
Yeah, both bullpens are going to be needed to finish out this ball game. Both of them are warming up right now.
Hellickson in his last start against the Red Sox at Fenway Park threw 99 pitches in just 5 innings. So you can see Kirk Badenhop and Jake McGee loosening up for Tampa Bay. Early in the season, you want your pitchers to get their feet on the ground. And boy, Hellickson came out with a gem in his first start. He beat the Yankees 3-0, pitching into the 9th.
Get your feet wet, but don't overdo it.
Yeah.
That was Evan Crawford as he starts to get loose. Did Justin Verlander throw 130-something pitches the other day when he was pitching against Kansas City?
I think he did, yeah. Wow. But quite a different pitcher. In experience and age, Verlander obviously an experienced pitcher that's started and pitched deep into the season, and Hellickson just in his 2nd full season.
Yeah, 131 pitches. I believe it was against Kansas City, I think. And they have a tendency of making work. That surprised me a little bit, that you would ride a guy like that this early.
Well, Jim Leyland knows Justin Verlander very well, and obviously he's a veteran pitcher. Escobar will take the 2-out walk. Escobar has been on base 3 times, and Joe Madden will take the slow walk out of the pen, and he's made the call already. It'll be the left-hander, Jake McGee. So Hellickson is in line for the win. He's got a 3-run lead, and he will give way to the Tampa Bay bullpen. Jake McGee with his big fastball will come on and try to end the 6th for Jeremy Hellickson. Of the season, and he's had a bit of a rough start. The interesting number, look at what the left-handers are hitting against Jake McGee. They've gone 3 for 7 in the early going. And Pat mentioned that Adam Lind had an RBI base hit against McGee earlier in this series.
That is surprising, because his career numbers versus lefties are 195. That's what they hit against him. He can fog it, get it up there, lively fastball at 92, 98 miles an hour. He's got a great arm, and Blue Jays were talking about him the other day after he came in, how effortless he was throwing the ball up there about 96 miles an hour.
18,976 on hand here at Rogers Center for the first open-air baseball game of the season. It's the homestand finale. This is the 9th game of the season opening homestand. Jake McGee to Kelly Johnson. Johnson has faced McGee just 1 time. Jeremy Hellickson, 6 hits in the ball game, and he just battled his command all night long through over 100 pitches here tonight.
A couple of errors and 3 walks really elevated that pitch count on Hellickson.
Prolonged the inning. 2-out error in the 3rd inning forced him to pitch to an extra batter. Could have been out of that inning quickly. 2-0 to Kelly Johnson. Fouls this one high, but foul down the left side. We mentioned Johnson 0 for his last 14. I had a conversation with the hitting coach before this at bat. Pulls this one through the hole into right. Another left-hander with a hit against Jake McGee.
Yeah, that conversation we caught Kelly Johnson talking to the hitting coach Ray Murphy helps. Again, he's not going to talk about his mechanics. He's going to say something positive to him. Hey, they're throwing you more fastballs. And it looks like he got a fastball.
McGee had one assignment, that's to get Kelly Johnson. He couldn't do that, so Madden has made the call. Right-hander Rick Badenhop when we come back. Own reserve seat here at Rogers Center. Great seats are still available, so call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234 or log on to BlueJays.com and pick up your season tickets. New pitcher will be the right-hander Rick Badenhop. We saw Badenhop in the series earlier. A right-hander, a little bit of a crossfire delivery, making his 7th appearance of the season.
When he's on, he'll keep the ball down and get a lot of ground ball outs. He was acquired from the Marlins on December the 12th for a minor league catcher by the name of Jake Jeffries. And there are his numbers this year. Sinker ball deluxe.
Jose Bautista. Bautista represents the tying run. First and second, 2 outs.
You mentioned Badenhop coming into the game the other day and gave up a couple of hits. One of them was a home run. Brett Laurie took him deep. And on back-to-back relief appearances for the first time in his career that he's given up a home run. Wouldn't that be nice right here?
Outside, 3-0. The table setters have done their job. Escobar walked with 2 outs. Kelly Johnson battled a tough left-hander and got a base hit. Bautista, you got to believe he's got the green light.
That was the pitch right there. Pete Howell is now loosening up their last left-hander in their bullpen. Bautista thought that ball was going to be away, and it came back over the plate.
Bases are loaded. Boy, do you waste 3 pitchers and 3 batters?
You know, it looks like Joe Madden is thinking about it. Certainly, he had a long talk with his bench coach, and he's going to go with it. He's feeling like this is the biggest part of the game right here.
McGee came in to pitch to Kelly Johnson. He got a base hit. Badenhop walked Bautista. Now it'll be J.P. Howell to face Adam Lind with the bases loaded. Howe pitched in the 9th inning of the game yesterday. Gave up a leadoff single to Escobar, but then struck out 2 of the next 3 batters. He's on now in a tough situation, making his 6th appearance of the season. Adam Lind has had a good series. Stroke starting to come around, and it all began on Tuesday.
Going the other way. This is off of Jeff Neiman hanging curveball, and he stays right with it. He had 2 other hits in that game, both of them coming to left field. One of them off a very tough left-hander, and now he has a tough left-hander in J.P. Howe.
Howe has certainly had the upper hand in this head-to-head matchup. J.P. Howe has held Adam Lind hitless in 7 at-bats.
He's got a good fastball. Howe does, and he's a left-handed curveball. Now he'll throw to the lefties.
He bounces that curveball, and that's a pitch he'll throw a lot.
Yeah, he'll throw it to the lefties to get strikeouts. Good job by Molina just to fall to his knees and just let that ball bounce right off his chest protector. Keep it in front of him.
This all started with 2 outs. And goes after that inside pitch. With 2 outs, you know, Escobar walked. Kelly Johnson then singled to right. Bautista walked off Bert Maidmap, and now Howe is in the game to deal with Lind.
This pitch, Molina sets up outside, and the ball comes back. I don't know if he catches that ball. If Lind doesn't swing at it. He missed badly on that one.
1-1. Changeup has always been a great pitch for Howe, and he got Lind to chase. Now the battle is on. 2 strikes.
Got to figure a curveball is going to come here sometime. Escobar's got to be ready at third base. He's already bounced 1 curveball.
Bounced another one, and Lind was able to lay off. Blue Jays tonight with runners in scoring position, just 1 for 7. They've stranded 7 base runners to this point. Opportunity to get right back in this game. Blue Jays trail by 3. Line to Pena. Lind stayed back and hit it on the line, but Carlos Pena was right there to glove it. And the Blue Jays will leave the bases loaded. They mounted a 2-out rally, but Pena makes a play to his glove side, and Lind is retired. back here at Rogers Center. Next homestand begins April 27th. The three-game series with the Seattle Mariners, and then the red-hot Texas Rangers will follow them into town. That'll wrap up the month of April. It'll be April 30th, May 1st and 2nd, three-game series. For tickets, call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Yu Darvish is pitching tonight for the Texas Rangers. He's gone 6 innings, allowed 2 hits. He's walked 4 batters, but he has held the Tigers to just 1 run. Sean Rodriguez, the number 9 hitter. Three RBIs for Rodriguez. They've all come in this series.
I tell you, when these teams get together, the games are always entertaining. Last year, the Blue Jays played the Rays 18 times. 11 of those games were decided by 2 runs or less. So I think that's why Joe Madden went out there and used 4 pitchers for 4 different hitters, because he knows that these games are always going to be close, and that might have been the time to save a run.
Hellickson retired the first 2 batters in the bottom of the 6th and then walked Escobar, and then Madden went to that bullpen. McGee, Badenhop, and J.P. Howell. Bouncing ball to the shortstop. Rodriguez has retired, 1 down. There's a Hockey Central special coming your way later tonight. For a preview of that, here's Jeff Merrick. Whoever would have thought somebody would have posed that question? Is hockey too violent right now? Generally during the playoffs you don't get this type of hockey, but they're off to a raucous start. Desmond Jennings homered in the 5th. His first home run of the season came off of Alvarez in that 5th inning. Boy, jumped on a high pitch, and Alvarez has now allowed home runs in 6 straight starts going back to last year. 0-2.
You know what hurt about that home run and then the home run after that by Longoria was the Blue Jays had scratched and clawed their way back and had just tied the game in the bottom of the 4th inning. So you battle up that mountain, and then you want to get back. Is that ball squibbed? That's going to be an error.
Yeah, and that ball had a lot of spin on it, and when Lynn gloved it, it spun right out of his glove, and he knew he had to hurry with Desmond Jennings running.
Right off the end of the bat. And that ball's got some English on it. And the way he runs, you've got to field the ball cleanly, or it's going to cost you.
Well, and that'll end the night for Henderson Alvarez. It's been another eventful start for Alvarez. He's allowed 2 home runs, and now in his career he's given up 5 home runs to Tampa Bay. Rays lead at 6-3. Evan Crawford into the game. tough spinning ball off the bat of Desmond Jennings. He couldn't make the play on it. And you can see that ball popped right out of his glove, and now he knows he's got to scramble and get it to first quickly, but it's not in time.
Yeah, even though you're just a couple of feet away and you just boot it just that one time, Jennings beats it out right off the end of the bat. That's what speed will do to you. You pick your head up a little bit, missed the ball, and he ends up on first base. Evan Crawford into the game. This is his second big league game. Worked on an inning against the Baltimore Orioles on April the 15th. Picked up his first big league strikeout. That was Wilson Betemit. There are his numbers in 45 games with the Double-A team last year for New Hampshire. 3-5. Whip not very good, but he has been pretty good this spring.
Henderson Alvarez out of the game, going 6 1/3, allowed 6 hits, but 2 home runs led to his undoing. Ben Zobrist, they flip Zobrist around to bat as a right-handed batter.
Zobrist has struggled this year versus left-handers, so you have to move him around. And then the big left-hander on deck. Zobrist just 1 for 16 this year versus left-handed pitching.
Carlos Pena on deck. Evan Crawford really got everybody's attention in spring training. He threw the ball very well. He's a former starter, so he's got a full complement of pitches. Right now he is missed with the first 2 to Ben Zobrist. Crawford began his career in the minor leagues as a starter, and then he's moved to the bullpen, and he is more than a left-handed specialist. He has the weapons to attack righties and lefties, but nobody's going to fare very well pitching from behind.
We saw 93 miles an hour on his fastball in that game against Baltimore. John Farrell was telling us before the game that he feels like there's a little bit more in there.
Other numbers Pat was talking about, Zobrist against lefties has really struggled early on. Crawford's 25 years old. He's in his 5th season with the Blue Jays. There's a strike. Crawford played at Auburn University. He started in his first 3 stops in the minors. Auburn, twice he was in the New York Penn League, and then in Lansing 2010. Comes back and runs the count to 4.
Yeah, he spins a good curveball and a slider. And that goes back to his roots as a starter. And he can throw both of those.
And he's confident to throw it any time. 3-2, 1 out. Runners going. Ball is called ball 4. Aaron Sebia was all locked and loaded to make a throw, and then heard Dana DeMuth holler ball 4. So now 2 men aboard, and this will be a straight lefty-lefty matchup for Evan Crawford as Carlos Pena comes to the plate.
Tried to slip a fastball by Zobrist. And Crawford reached back for a little something extra, but it's called low. You see Aaron Sebia come out of there quickly.
A couple of good base runners on board for Tampa Bay. Jennings with great speed. Zobrist an excellent base runner from first. Pena's 0 for 2 with a walk. Way outside.
Yeah, you better keep your eyes on these base runners. Jennings is getting a good lead, and Zobrist can steal you a base. You know, Escobar's got to really get right behind that runner and keep him right around that dirt area.
There's a strike that'll leave the count at 1-1. The Blue Jays just haven't been able to cash in tonight against Tampa Bay. They've stranded 10 base runners and trailed by 3. They've out-hit Tampa Bay 7-6. But Tampa Bay has utilized the long ball, and they've got Jennings hung up, and they call Crawford for a balk. Crawford didn't step off the rubber and turned around to second when Lowry hollered that there he goes. And Evan Crawford was charged with a balk that'll move the runners up.
You could just see that forming as he was on the mound. That's something he was going to try and do. There he goes. And Doug Eddings, that's the second base umpire, sees that Crawford flinches a little bit. Let's see if you can see it right here once he takes off.
He moved before he stepped off, and that was enough for the balk to be called by the second base umpire.
You could just tell the way Jennings and Zobrist were on base that they were going to try and make something happen here with Pena at the plate and a young pitcher on the mound.
So now that'll force the infield to come in and try to cut down the run at the plate. And really compounds things with the powerful Pena at the plate. Great speed at third. You got to believe they're going to force the issue with a 3-run lead, go on contact. There's contact. He is not running. Backhanded by Lynn. He'll come into the baseline and tag out Pena. I'm surprised they didn't go on contact there. I'm sure the contact play was on. Looked like Jennings just didn't get a good read on contact.
Ideally, if you're a runner there, you want the fielder to move laterally and you can score, but maybe he read that Lynn was coming in for that ball and he would have been an out at the plate. But with that type of speed, you got to try and steal a run there.
Especially when you're up by 3. It's worth a gamble. Longoria now will be given the intentional walk. They will pitch to the left-hander Luke Scott. Seventh inning, Tampa Bay leads 6-3. Luke Scott will come to the plate with the bases loaded. Evan Crawford into the game here in the 7th. Last night in the 9th inning, Luke Scott came to the plate with the bases loaded against Carlos Villanueva.
Knowing that Carlos Villanueva was having trouble getting his pitches over, hadn't worked for a couple of weeks, and when he put one over, Luke Scott put it over the fence for a grand slam. Second grand slam of the season by the Rays.
Carlos Pena hit the other. Rays scored 6 runs in that 9th inning last night. 2 outs. First pitch breaking ball. Evan Crawford in his second big league game. Boy, this is a much different lineup with Pena and Luke Scott in the batting order now. Longoria and Zobrist have plenty of help.
A little bit more power in the lineup. Luke Scott's a very good hitter and Pena's very dangerous. It lengthens out their lineup. Last year they had to bunch a lot of hitters in the middle of the lineup, and towards the bottom it wasn't as strong. Now you lengthen it out. You have Matt Joyce. He was hitting 7th in yesterday's game. You got Sean Rodriguez hitting 9th. He had a couple of RBIs in yesterday's game, so it's a little bit more dangerous.
And they'll get a big right-handed bat back in the lineup tomorrow night, and B.J. Upton, their center fielder. 1-1. Breaking ball down and away. You figure that they're going to put Upton right back in the 2 spot. That's where he did so well at the end of the season last year. And then they're going to have a deeper lineup for sure.
And then you put Zobrist down in an RBI spot where his switch hitting could really cause trouble for the opposing manager.
And you know, before too long, Tampa Bay is going to pitch.
Yeah, they'll get that figured out. Just too good.
2-2. Seventh inning, plenty of time for the Jays to get back in this game. But they got to save these runs here.
Make a pitch here, 2-2. You know he doesn't want to go to 3-2, and then everybody starts running. He had confidence in that breaking ball to throw it here.
Luke Scott drives it to left. Thames is back on the warning track and makes the catch. Scott gave it a ride. Eric Thames up against the wall, hauls it in. Evan Crawford indeed saves the runs as they raise strand the bases loaded. It's still a 3-run game. Henderson Alvarez making his second career start against Tampa Bay. Goes 6 1/3. It took him 102 pitches. He gives up just 6 hits, but 2 of those 6 hits left the ballpark. And the same guys that homered off him last year, Jennings and Longoria, doing the damage. For Tampa Bay, it was Jeremy Hellickson. 5 2/3. He too allowed 6 hits, but the Blue Jays had stranded 10.
And a couple of walks, 3 walks and an error. Elevated his pitch count. That was Elliott Johnson, who was taken over at second base. So keeping score, scratch out Keppinger and put Johnson in the 7th spot.
Edwin Encarnacion chases a breaking ball. Encarnacion struck out against Howe last night to end the ball game. J.P. Howe came into the game in the 9th. It was a 12-2 game at that point. Different story in this ball game. He came in and got Adam Lind to line to first base with the bases loaded.
And he was fired up too after that. He came off the mound knowing how important that inning was.
Upstairs, 2-2. J.P. Howe dealt with injuries and missed the entire 2010 season. Shoulder problems. It's taken him a while to get back.
Valuable guy a couple of years ago before he got hurt out of that bullpen.
A big season in 2008. Appeared in 64 games. Had a 6-1 record. He had 17 saves in 2009.
How about that? A hand in 23 wins that season.
Payoff pitch. Just outside the bag at third. Three-run ball game. And again, it's been the home run. And we mentioned Desmond Jennings and Evan Longoria with the home runs here tonight. Longoria now has 3 home runs against Henderson Alvarez in his career.
That looks like a new glove, doesn't it?
Powell comes back with a breaking ball and strikes out Encarnacion. Evan Crawford with the bases loaded gets Luke Scott. This ball was driven to the wall and left. Thames stayed with it to end the threat. Bases were loaded and Blue Jays leave him full. Luke Scott made a bid for a grand slam for a second consecutive night. Eric Thames 0 for 3 tonight. And 2. Well, Howell looks like he's got his stuff back to where it was a couple of years ago.
You know, throw that curveball to left-handed batters. Secret is don't get the 2 strikes. Hit that first fastball you see.
The looper into center field. Jennings will close in on it, make the catch. 2 outs. J.P. Howell has retired all 3 batters he's faced. Blue Jays had opportunities. Had a lot of base runners on tonight. And they've had plenty of ABs with runners in scoring position. But they were held to a 1 for 8 average with runners in scoring position so far. There's that great changeup. Howell has a very animated delivery. And you see that body coming at you and that arm drags through it and he takes something off the pitch. And oftentimes hitters are out in front.
Great arm speed on that changeup. And then drops that curveball on you. He's got more than a couple of pitches in his arsenal coming out of that bullpen. He'll cut his fastball at times. Curveball you mentioned, the changeup, straight fastball, and then a lot of deception when he falls off that mound.
Howell came through the Kansas City Royals organization. He was a first-round pick, 30th overall in the 2004 draft. Laurie serves this one in direct. He stayed on it and just went with the pitch.
After that first changeup, Brett Laurie knew exactly what he was going to try and do, Howell do, to get him out. And he stayed back on that changeup nicely and just poked it into right field.
Colby Erasmus try to keep things going here in the 7th. Two outs. Good idea by Erasmus. Get that pitch early before you can get to that curveball, but he fouled it back.
That's the same pitch he threw Adam Lind early in the count. Turns over a fastball. Trying to get the ball on the ground. They're really playing Erasmus to pull a left-handed pitcher.
Pulls it foul outside of first. Howell's been ahead ever since he's come into this game. He was ahead of Brett Laurie 0-2. Laurie worked him for a 2-out base hit.
I think he knows also that one way or another this is his last hitter of the night.
Aaron Seavey is on deck. They have a right-hander ready down in the bullpen. Obviously not a running situation for the Blue Jays. Inside. Joe Peralta got off to a rough start to his season, but last night he struck out the only 2 batters he faced in the ball game. Came in the 8th inning with 2 on and 1 out. Rasmus strikes out. J.P. Howe with a terrific job of relief. That ends the 7th. Rays have a 3-run lead. Enjoying those big comfy green chairs in the TD Comfort Zone. Our guest of TD, the TD Comfort Zone, courtesy of TD. Blue Jays will leave town after this ball game and go to Kansas City, take on the Royals for a 4-game series. Kyle Drabek will open up the series against Luke Ochaver. Saturday, that's the big question mark. Who's going to start that game for the Blue Jays? He'll be opposed by Luis Mendoza. Ricky Romero goes on Sunday against the left-hander Danny Duffy, and Monday Brandon Morrow will go up against Bruce Chen. Who do you think it's going to be on Saturday?
I think it's going to be Drew Hutchison. I really do. Get that started on Saturday. They're heading to a part of their schedule where they're playing Kansas City and Baltimore and Seattle. So when his turn comes around, it's not like you're facing the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Rays. So maybe that was part of the consideration. We'll see.
If it is Drew Hutchison, he will be pitching on 6 days rest. That has a lot to do with it. It's not just the fact they look at one guy and say, we want this guy to pitch. It depends on where the starters are in their rotation in minor leagues. Joe Carreño pitched last night. Brett Cecil pitched tonight, left the game early in the first inning. We're not sure what happened, so we won't speculate on what that is, but he left the ball game in his start tonight. Matt Joyce with a feeble bunt attempt. His heart really wasn't in that.
The Blue Jays had changed right when Evan Crawford started his windup to go into a shift, so there was some uncertainty on the infield where they were going to play. I think Joyce saw that and tried to drop one down.
Now you see this time Brett Lawrie stays at shortstop. Yunel Escobar moves behind second, and Kelly Johnson goes into shallow right. Many variations of the shift employed by both managers.
Well, what the Blue Jays do when they shift like that, they want to keep as many people in their regular spots as possible. And what I mean by that is, instead of just taking everybody and just moving them over to the right side, you've got Escobar out of position playing like at second base, or you've got Johnson a little bit pulled over. Your third baseman is playing in the shortstop spot. It's much easier to take your third baseman, Brett Lawrie, who's a good athlete, put him someplace else, and keep Escobar and Johnson in their normal spots.
And Lawrie has played second base, so his being on the right side of the bag is nothing new. Matt Joyce leading off the 8th for Tampa Bay. He's been hitless tonight. He was hit by a pitch and scored in the 2nd. Hits this one a mile high to right. Bautista in front of the warning track. Wind blowing it back toward right. 1 out. So Elliott Johnson, he's a switch hitter. He came into the ball game defensively at second base, and he will get his first at bat. He's appeared in 6 games so far, and another one of those tailor-made Rays players. He's versatile. He can play all over the infield, and he's a switch hitter.
Switch hitter. He can run a little bit. He can play all the infield positions if you need him to. He played at 28 games in spring training. Appeared at 7 different positions this spring. First, second, third, and short. He played left, center, and right. Plus, he DH'd in a game. That's how you fill out your roster with versatility.
Well, he knows what Joe Madden wants in the bench players. He wants the ability to play all over the place, and then the added benefit is that Elliott Johnson's a switch hitter. Like you get an extra roster spot.
He can run a little bit. Made 1 error last year.
That's really an accomplishment, having to play so many different positions.
I bet you he's got a whole bag full of gloves too.
Fights this one off. Yeah, you move around, and you never know when you're going to get into a game. You never know what position you're going to play. And commit just 1 error last year.
Yeah, 1 error when he played shortstop. And that's the most demanding position, I think, in the infield.
Well, most managers, especially managers of pennant contending ball clubs like the Rays, when they think about their extra men can't lose games for you. And you don't expect them to win many. But when you give the regulars a day off, you want to make sure they're going to catch it.
And do something to help you win a ball game that day. So the base on ball is going to knock Evan Crawford out of the game. There are the players who are left in this game.
So John Fair will make a pitching change, and Evan Crawford goes a total of 1 inning here tonight. He'll turn things over to the right-hander Jason Frazier with 1 out here in the 8th. Open air here at Rogers Center for the first time this season, and the Blue Jays find themselves trailing 6-3 here. In the top of the 8th, Jason Frazier worked in this series. He came on in the 7th inning on Tuesday night in relief of Ricky Romero, and he retired all 3 batters he faced in that game, and he struck out 1.
And he was credited with a hold, his team leading 3rd hold of the season in that game. No record with a nice 193 earned run average for Frazier. A couple of right-handers at the bottom of the lineup now trying to get through this inning.
Catcher Jose Molina has gone 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Elliott Johnson, a base runner at first. Molina goes after the first pitch. Jason Frazier is the club leader in appearances. He leads all Blue Jays pitchers. This is his 461st appearance in a Blue Jays uniform. He's done a good job over his career. He's reliable. He's consistent. Durable. Yep.
You know, I don't know if he's ever been on the disabled list. Just goes out and does his thing. Knows his spot on the club.
Snap throw to first, and Elliott Johnson dives back in. Now, it's interesting you mentioned how durable he is. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries.
Yeah.
And generally, one, a lot of pitchers have one. You don't think too much of it, but having a second one and still being able to go out there and give you consistency is pretty remarkable.
Before he came over here. Been here a long time.
0-2. Molina struck out twice on breaking balls tonight. One of those came against Anderson Alvarez, the starter. Alvarez went 6 1/3. He was charged with 6 earned runs, gave up 6 hits, and again the home run proved costly for Alvarez. He gave up 2 home runs here tonight. This will be another 0-2 pitch to the Rays catcher. Inside, he made him bounce out of the way.
He has worked him away, and now he's going to try and sneak a fastball by him and just stays on top of it a little bit too long. Molina can hit a fastball. He gets into these situations looking for an off-speed pitch.
Spoils that fastball.
And then just reacts to the fastball and just tries to punch it the other way.
That's a beautiful sight. First time we have seen CN Tower from inside the ballpark this year. All the fancy lights working very well tonight. 1-2, 1 out. Tampa Bay leading 6-3. Big inning was that 3rd inning. Or excuse me, the 3-run 5th inning when they hit 2 home runs.
Yeah, right after the Blue Jays had fought back and had tied it up in the bottom of the 4th. A couple swings by the Rays, and that's demoralizing.
That was an emotional bottom of the 4th inning when the Blue Jays tied it up. J.P. Arancibia scored the tying run when Sean Rodriguez made an error. Rodriguez threw it away at first, and Arancibia scored from second. There goes Johnson. The ball is bounced, and all Arancibia can do is block it.
Six stolen bases last year for Johnson. Picks a good pitch to take off on. Looked like a split change from Frazier. And when he bounces it, he can steal that bag easily.
Well, again, there's a good example of what the Rays do. They'll run in pitcher counts when they think pitcher might throw an off-speed pitch, and sure enough, Frazier bounced it. It was an easy stolen base for Johnson. Molina strikes out for a 3rd time. Another off-speed pitch does the trick.
You can look for it, but if you put it right there, down and away, you're going to pick up strikeouts. Good pitch there from Jason Frazier.
Sean Rodriguez has an RBI tonight. Came in the 1st inning with a Base hit to right. Matt Joyce scored from second on the base hit, and it was a throw from Bautista that skipped past J.P. Arancibia. Perfect throw, just took a wicked hop and went right over the glove of Arancibia.
Really skipped on him. He almost hit like ice and just took off on him.
JP did not play in last night's game, and prior to the game he was taking balls off the fungal bats from short and second to replicate what it would be like to get a throw from the outfield, and he did that last night before the game, and you just can't replicate it at game speed with that Bautista cannon from right.
Yeah, it's something hard to practice.
It's like practicing catching foul tips. You just can't do it.
I guess you could go out in the outfield with one of those jugs guns and
shoot them at him. Yep.
Shoot them at him.
But you know, this turf, and you can ask Evan Longoria, it's a quick surface.
Yeah. And the ball stays down.
It's only a 3-run deficit for the Blue Jays. They can get back in this thing and get deeper, and there's another good pitch for him. What a job by Frazier. He comes in with 1 out, strikes out the 2 guys he faces. Blue Jays will hit in the bottom of the 8th. Now it's time for a Blue Jay Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn at the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Honda will team up to bring you the Super Camps once again this summer. They're presented by Baseball Canada and Little League Canada. Edmonton, Alberta will be the site July 2nd through the 4th. Telus Field. Instructors include Lloyd Mosby, Rance Mullenix, Homer Bush, Sandy Alomar Sr., and Dwayne Ward. Visit BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy. The Toronto Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. Joel Peralta, we mentioned Peralta was into the game last night, came into the game in the 8th inning with 2 on and 1 out, and struck out Colby Erasmus and pinch hitter Eric Thames to end the threat.
He's got a few weapons when he takes the mound. He had a great year last year for Joe Madden, pitching out of the bullpen in various forms. This year he's gotten off to a rough start, a very elevated ERA at 21. But that outing that you were just talking about yesterday was his 2nd consecutive scoreless outing.
J.P. Arancibia looks at a first pitch strike. J.P. swung the bat well tonight. He has a single, a double, and an RBI. He also scored in the 4th and then just missed hitting a home run in the 6th. Hit a drive to the wall in left field that was hauled in by Matt Joyce. Hits off the end of the bat. Jennings coming on makes the catch. Just over the back of Matt Joyce, who ducked out of his way.
Much better path to the ball we have seen tonight by J.P. Arcevia. This one's right off the end of the bat. One thing that the Rays have, and they've had it for a long time, is speed in center field. B.J. Upton, and now with him on the disabled list, Desmond Jennings taking control and calling off Matt Joyce.
Yeah, he is the quarterback of that outfield, the center fielder, and he called for it over and over again until Matt Joyce hurt him and then peeled out of the way. So back to the top of the order. Yunel Escobar has been on base 3 times again tonight. Escobar in the 6th inning walked with 2 outs, and then Kelly Johnson singled, and they got Jose Bautista to the plate. That's when Joe Madden used 4 different pitchers for 4 batters to get out of the 6th.
It started with Escobar. He had the starter Hellickson, then McGee, Baden, Hop, and Howell.
Pulled on the ground. Big hop for Rodriguez. 2 down.
You know, and not every save is in the 9th inning. I think Joe Madden felt like his save was going to be in that 6th inning.
Well, you can bet that anytime the Blue Jays have a rally and Bautista's going to be in the middle of it, Madden's going to use all of his weapons, and that's what he did. He unloaded the bullpen right there in that 6th inning. Kelly Johnson had a big hit against Jake McGee. Pulled it into right field. That snapped an 0 for 14 stretch. David Price. He was a tough opponent again. Wasn't on his A game, but was the winning pitcher in the ball game last night. He's never lost in this ballpark. He has 10 career wins now against the Blue Jays. The all-time active wins leader against Toronto, Jamie Moyer, with 16.
How about Jamie Moyer? 49 years old and gets a win, the oldest pitcher ever.
1-1 to Johnson. Off speed pitch, he's out in front. Jamie Moyer is remarkable. Missed the whole season, was coming back from arm surgery and just worked hard and said, you know what, I'm just going to go here and make this team, and sure enough he did. Pulled on the ground. Pena gobbles it up and tosses to Peralta. Joel Peralta looks like he's straightened out things after a slow start this season. be right back here on Sportsnet tomorrow night. Blue Jays will be in Kansas City for the first of 4. They all begin tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Kyle Drabeck will hook up and go against Luke Hochhaber in the first of 4. It'll be on Sportsnet 1 tomorrow night. Drabeck off to a 2-0 start. Throwing the ball very well.
Yeah, he is really throwing the ball well. Throwing strikes, commanding his fastball, a two-seamer.
Grayson Frazier struck out the only 2 he faced in the 8th inning. Desmond Jennings. We had mentioned Jennings in the first game of this series, how he's a much better breaking ball hitter than a fastball hitter. But he jumped on a fastball from Henderson Alvarez in the 5th. Hit his first home run of the season. That gave the Rays a 4-3 lead at the time. They added to that lead later on in the inning when Evan Longoria hit a 2-run homer off the Windows Restaurant in center.
He must love hitting in this ballpark. Sees the ball really well.
There's another hit for Desmond Jennings. Thames will have to come after it. Jennings can run, and Eric Thames stops him with a sharp single to left.
Came into this game 355 here at Rogers Center in just 6 games. He's going to add to that tonight. He had a single in the 2nd, a home run. He was on an error, and now he's going to start off the 9th inning with his 3rd base hit.
Desmond Jennings will always have fond thoughts of this ballpark. This is where he made his major league debut back in 2010. Got his first big league hit right here, and every time he steps into this place, he feels warm and fuzzy. Ben Zobrist. Zobrist has been on base 3 times tonight. He singled into left center his first time up, grounded out in the 2nd, and then walked twice. Big bouncing ball to Lind, and he will flip to Frazier. Well, I tell you what, everybody in this lineup busted out of the box, and Zobrist made it close at first. Jennings moves up.
The guy at first base was busting it too, because Adam Lind had some thoughts of maybe getting that runner out, that lead runner at second base. Watch Jennings just take off on that soft ground ball. Lind was thinking about it and said, uh-oh, you know what, I better get an out. And completes the play. These guys play the game the right way. Play hard all the time.
And you see Zobrist hit that tapper, and he's giving it everything he's got up the line. And it's just like a team mindset. Everybody in this lineup pushing for one another. Zobrist has been a good fit.
That's another one of those astute trades that they made. They got him from Houston.
Aubrey Huff went the other way. Carlos Pena hitless tonight. He's also walked. He is officially 0 for 3. Pena's 0 for 7 in the last 2 games. He had a 3-hit night in the opening. First pitch strike. Tampa Bay leads 6-3 here in the top of the 9th. Looking ahead, the Blue Jays will have Bautista, Lind, and Encarnacion in their half of the 9th.
And we'll get the closer, Fernando Rodney. So you've got to save every run you can right here.
Pena is in the hole 0-2. Fans trying to rally the home team. Jennings, boy, he didn't hesitate. He saw that ball was going to hit in the dirt, and even before it got the home plate, he was moving.
It's so tough on a catcher to see the ball, block it, pick it up, and then try and throw a runner at it. If you're the runner at second base and you see the flight of that ball and it's going to bounce in front of home plate, watch Jennings, just takes off.
He literally moved before the ball hit the dirt. He saw the angle of the ball, and he knew it was going to be short of home. That forces the infield in. There's Fernando Rodney, and boy, is he off to a great start. Rodney is 4 for 4 in save opportunities, and as it stands right now at 6-3, that would create a save opportunity if he were to enter the game in the ninth. Pena was in a similar situation with 2 runners on, second and third in the 7th with 1 out, and he tapped to the first baseman.
Same runner, Desmond Jennings, did not break for home and play the contact play. He is having a long talk with Tom Foley, the third base coach, about what they want to do here.
Full count, 1 out. Infield trying to save a run here. Pena will take a walk. Now for a preview of what's coming up on Connected. Here's Ivanka Osmak and Ken Reed. Lots of NHL playoff hockey will be discussed during Connected, and baseball. Yu Darvish doing a great job against the Tigers in the early going, holding them to just 2 hits.
Texas is pouring it on now. 17 more hits tonight.
Check out Josh Hamilton. He's got a boatload of hits. Longoria pops this one up over near the Rays dugout. Lind is there, and that ball hit on the warning track, and he had a shot at it. It just drifted on him a little bit, and Longoria has life.
Wind blew it back, goes over, thinks it's going to be by the railing, and it gets blown onto the playing surface and bounces into the stands.
It's the first time the roof has been opened, and the ball gets pushed around a little bit when the breezes kick up, and it's just enough to take it away from Lind there. Boy, that gives Evan Longoria another shot. Jason Frazier makes sure he doesn't get locked in. Pushed him back.
Yep, move his feet around a little bit. He's got a couple of hits tonight and a strikeout. One of those hits, his second home run of the season. Frazier has faced him 9 times in his career, so he is familiar with Longoria.
Longoria now has 9 career home runs against the Blue Jays. Off speed pitch, he taps it foul.
You know, it doesn't look like there's a stressed bone in his body, Longoria, when he's at the plate.
Yeah, he's a totally different style hitter than Brett Lawrie, for instance. Lawrie is really grinding and squeezing that bat, and Longoria's got that laid-back California approach at the plate that just kind of rests in his hands, and
feet together. I mean, like there's not a care in the world.
No tension in his body whatsoever. Frazier wanted that pitch. Made a pretty good pitch with the fastball. Jason has 2 strikeouts tonight.
Longoria looking for something off speed. That fastball's by him, but it's down. That's what good hitters do. They'll hunt pitches.
Breaking ball. He waved at it and fouled it out of play. That swing right there made me think that he's looking for a fastball. That kind of fooled him. But it's hard to sit on a pitch with 2 strikes.
Yeah. You sit on anything. Just hunt for the baseball right now.
His first and third, 1 out.
His first hit tonight was to right field. He went the other way to pick up an RBI. And then homer to center field. I wish I could have hit like that. You know, just go up there. Just
no cares in the world.
Yeah.
Free and easy. Just personality. I think it's just his personality. And that's.
Well, it shows the confidence that he has, that he knows he's a good player.
He's a hard worker. Really puts in a lot of time in the field and at the plate. And Sevilla smothers that breaking ball. Full count, 1 out. Carlos Pena at first, Desmond Jennings at third. Ripped over Brett Laurie into left. Jennings jogs home. Peñas goes first to third, and Longoria ends up at second with a double. His 4th RBI of the night.
What a swing. And that's what happens when you are tension free at the plate. You can turn on an inside fastball. Low 90s fastball with 2 strikes. You have the confidence to bring those hands through. And he just rips this one into the corner. Laurie gets up, but he just can't get up high enough. And it's extra bases for Longoria.
That's a big insurance run here in the 9th. Luke Scott, the DH, has gone hitless in his 4 at-bats tonight. Once again, the infield drawn in. Second and third, 1 out.
He's had some chances to drive in runs tonight. Had a couple of runners on in the first inning. He hit into a double play. And last time up had the bases loaded and flew out. Now he's got runners at second and third in less than 2.
That changeup, and Scott's in a quick 0-2. Luke Scott has driven in 12 with 4 RBI tonight. Evan Longoria gets up to 11.
And Pena
has 12 as well. That's what they're supposed to do. Meat of the order, supposed to drive in runs, and so far they've been effective.
They get another hitter back tomorrow too, and BJ Upton
really stretches out that lineup. Then
certainly does.
Luke Scott drives this ball toward right. That's going to get past Bautista and go all the way to the wall. 2 more runs will score, and Luke Scott will get to second. Tampa Bay, with a big 9th inning, have taken a comfortable lead. 1 out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Wow. Big night First 3-homer night for the Yankees at Yankee Stadium, at New Yankee Stadium, and Curtis Granderson. Luke Scott has been dealing with a hamstring, so he will give way to the pinch runner, Stephen Vogt. So Scott delivers a pair of RBI here in the ninth. He now is the team leader with 14. He is upset by that first call, the fastball that was called the strike, and was able to overcome that and drive home 2.
Didn't bother him after that. Short swing. He makes adjustments again when he is at the plate. That is a short swing. Just trying to drive the ball into the outfield. And he splits the outfield for a couple of RBIs. Lots of opportunities tonight with runners on base, and he cashes them in that time.
Luke Scott's third double of the season. He gives way to the pinch runner. Stephen Vogt is at second base now. Still just 1 out. Matt Joyce 0 for 3 so far. Francisco Cordero will have to start to loosen up. Blue Jays are in a long stretch of games without an off day. They won't have another off day until May 7th.
Yeah, you got to save that bullpen when you can. You got to figure one of them, somebody out of that bullpen, will go down when the 5th starter comes off and pitches on Saturday.
Yeah.
So they'll lose somebody out of the bullpen then.
They don't have to make a roster move until Saturday, so they can carry that extra arm to Kansas City. Make that move after the game on Friday night. Boy, 2 big offensive nights for Tampa Bay. 12 runs last night on 10 hits. 9 more runs tonight on 9 hits. They have hit 7 home runs in the series.
Team that was struggling offensively when they came in here. They got 1 run in the last game of that Boston series to win their only game in that series.
And that was a bases loaded walk to Evan Longoria, the only run of the ball game. Yeah, it was a nightmare for them in Boston. Longoria took the bases loaded walk. Bobby Valentine elected to leave.
That's right.
Daniel Bard in that game. And he was up to 117 pitches and just ran out of gas. Matt Joyce laid off that pitch.
I've been impressed with their length of their lineup.
The depth of the lineup, sure. It's a deep lineup, and the flexibility they have with lefties, righties, and switch hitters.
And speed. We even talked about that. We haven't had to talk about it in this series, how much speed they have. Just one time they had the 1st and 3rd situation where they tried to bunt and score that run. They do that better than anybody.
Yeah, that's in the top of their playbook. That 1st and 3rd safety squeeze. These are strikes out Matt Joyce. That's the 2nd out of the inning. Third strikeout of the game for Jason since coming out of the bullpen. Tampa Bay will go home after this and open up a 3-game series against the Twins at home on Friday night. And they'll have an off day, and the Angels will be in for a 3-game series.
They have had a rough start to the season. Rough, and only the 19 of their first 22 games are against teams who had a 500 or better record last year. And that's tough. That is a rough beginning.
Well, and they have a good ball club, and everybody is got them in their sights trying to knock them off. They've been in the postseason 3 of the last 4 years. And they got a lot of guys that know how to win. And they brought Carlos Pena back. They brought Luke Scott in. Luke Scott is a terrific student of hitting. He keeps a very detailed book of every pitcher he faces.
Right now they're talking about that lower hand, getting that lower hand through the strike zone.
Elliott Johnson fouls it straight back to the screen. It's a 2-2 count. Johnson batting for a second time. He took over at second base defensively back in the 7th. He walked in the 8th inning in his only at bat. Frazier makes a good pitch with the fastball, but Tampa Bay has added 3 more runs here in the 9th. The Blue Jays will go to the bottom of the 9th, trailing by 6. Slam combo. The next one will take place Friday, April 27th, and the Blue Jays are back here against the Seattle Mariners. The game starts at 7:07 p.m. The Lester's combo includes 1 ticket in the 200 outfield, a Lester's hot dog, nachos, popcorn, peanuts, apple, and a soft drink. Tickets start at $39. Call the Blue Jays at 416-341-1234 or log on to BlueJays.com. Lester's Grand Slam combo. Boy, what a great start to his season Fernando Rodney has experienced. This is just his 5th appearance, and Rodney is perfect. He's 4 for 4. This is not a save situation, but he has allowed only 1 base runner in 4 and a third innings pitched. He's faced 14 hitters.
And that runner that he has allowed, how about an intentional walk to David Ortiz? Fernando Rodney was signed as a free agent late. He was signed in January of this year by Tampa Bay. Rodney now in his 9th season in the big leagues. He's pitched for Detroit and the Los Angeles Angels. And when Kyle Farnsworth went down with an injury early in the season, they had him ready to go. He has had closing experience.
Well, the bullpen has certainly sorted itself out here in Toronto. Joe Peralta's had a couple of good outings. J.P. Howe, Jake McGee, they've all thrown the ball fairly well. But getting Howe, Peralta lined up ahead of Fernando Rodney, that's a big step in the right direction for Tampa Bay. Rodney's got a good fastball and a great changeup. He'll throw it 96, 97 miles an hour, but he's got that disappearing changeup.
Yeah, that is the pitch that has given people problems. It's about 15 miles slower per hour slower than that fastball. Looks like he's working out of a little bit different stretch motion.
Very much a short arm action, and that's why that great changeup is so effective. And he's got his velocity back.
Coming set and then bringing his arms up before he separates them. A lot of times you'll see pitchers start high and then go down low and separate around the belt buckle. He goes up and then separates.
He cut that fastball and missed away with it. Full count to Jose Bautista, leading things off here in the ninth. And he'll walk. Second time Bautista has walked here tonight. You mentioned that's only the second base runner that Rapney has allowed. And oftentimes you bring closers into these games and they don't have that intensity they're used to.
Yeah, he was getting fired up when it was a 3-run game in the top of the ninth inning. 6-3 save situation. Rays go up and pour 3 runs, put 3 runs on the board, and you start to ease off the gas pedal a little bit.
Adam Lynn and an RBI double way back in the first. First pitch strike. Unless they have a big comeback, the Blue Jays will go 4-5 on this 9-game homestand. Oh my. Edwin Encarnacion. I don't know how that missed him. He was standing on deck and the ball went right at him. And boy, oh boy, they stand so close to those hitters, and you just don't anticipate a ball coming back in that direction.
Off the end of the bat, usually you foul it back and it goes straight back.
Wasn't it Juan Encarnacion that got hit in the on-deck circle?
Don't remember if it was a foul ball or a broken bat.
I think it was a foul ball,
foul
much
ball.
like that. Just kind of fouled back and hit him in the eye. Yeah.
Yep.
Then reaches for it and lifts it into center. Should be an easy play for Desmond Jennings. Edwin Encarnacion. He's 1 for 3 tonight, but he's been on base 3 times. He walked, reached on an air, and doubled. His 5th double of the season. It's a tough way to wrap up a homestand. There was so much excitement at the start of this homestand. And then Boston took 2 out of 3. And now it looks like Tampa Bay is going to take 2 out of 3.
Yeah. They took 2 out of 3 from Boston, lost 2 out of 3 to Baltimore. I remember after that, this ball is squibbed up the line, and it'll be an infield hit. But after that Boston series, everybody was fired up. Hey, Baltimore's coming in here, and we got a chance to do something, and they couldn't even win the series. And then they win the first game in this series. And then the bats came out. Encarnacion will pick up an infield single right here in front of Longoria. Edwin now has been on base 4 times.
He got himself another hit here tonight. That'll boost his average, as the average is up exactly at 300 for Encarnacion. Eric Thames looking for his first hit. Rodney pours that fastball in there.
Yeah, he's always had a great fastball. When he was in the minor leagues, he won the International League Relief Pitcher of the Year when he was with the Tigers. Now in his 9th year.
And that foul ball hit the catcher Jose Molina. It's like it got him on that left wrist. Not sure where it hit him, but it hit him square.
That can bend your wrist back. We saw that a couple of times last year from Jose Molina. Yep.
Caught him right on the heel of his glove and hit that fat pad on his catching hat. 0-2. There's that changeup, but it missed outside.
Look at the mile-per-hour difference. That 81 miles an hour, and we've seen some 95s with his fastball.
And it's the same arm action. It's really a challenge for hitters to make the adjustment and wait back on that changeup. Base hit through the left side, and runners will move up. Thames gets his first hit of the night.
Nowhere to go, down by 6 runs. He's going to supply the power. You just make sure you get the bat head out there. And there Thames does, rifling the ball into left field.
Well, how often have we seen this over the years? The closer gets up thinking that he's going to come into the ball game with the save opportunity. The Rays score 3 runs, eliminate the save opportunity, but he hasn't pitched since Sunday, so he needs to work.
He needs to work. And if he's up, manager's got to bring him into the game. You don't want to get him out there warmed up and then sit down.
He actually pitched Monday in that 1-0 win in Boston. And now he falls behind Brett Lawrie.
He's had his problems in the past against the Blue Jays. 0-5 with an ERA over 6 in his career versus Toronto.
Two and 0. Not only do you have to use Rodney, you mentioned he got him up, but he needed to get out there and pitch an inning probably, but now he's thrown 18 pitches.
Ideally, you want him out there, have a quick inning.
Rodney boots the ball, but he recovers, and Lawrie is tagged out. A run comes in on the play. Lawrie tried to avoid the tag and went inside the bag, but Bautista comes in to score.
Lawrie will pick up an RBI on that ground out. This could have been nasty. He ends up right in the middle of the baseline also, but stays right with it. Lawrie, you know you're going to get 100% down that line every single time. Tries to avoid him, goes underneath and thinks he's underneath the tag, but he's run up by the first base umpire, Kerwin Danley.
So the Blue Jays now down to their final out. Lawrie picks up an RBI. That gives him 9 for the season. Bobby Rasmus.
That could have been nasty for somebody. I'm not sure who.
Carries right into the base path.
Yeah.
Well, he was fortunate he picked it up after bobbling it initially. If he boots it one more time, it's going to allow Lawrie to reach, and then who knows what happens. Rasmus hits it on the ground. Rodriguez from deep, it's short. Bounces it. Boy, is he bailed out by former Gold Glover Carlos Pena. But Evan Longoria with a big night. He had a home run, drove in 4. Sean Rodriguez got his bat going. Rodney comes in and survives the 9th. Tampa Bay takes the series. We'll see you tomorrow night from Kansas City. Stay tuned for Connected.